when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way, or the highway. And in the driveway is a nice range. Cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain. You'll never hear me, bitch, nah, I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain anything you want, anything you need. Your mind's got the key ingredient, it's belief. They deceive with the negativity, but I just slide right by that energy. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. You got a mind, but even that could change. You could flip the gray matter like some batter in your brain. That's why they say, fake it till you make it A. And if you play that game, then you just might make a change. Rearrange all the bad to okay. Take the worst thoughts saying, turn them to a game. Take the best thoughts saying, put them on display. On repeat in your brain till you're feeling no more pain. Never slow yourself down, you can do some more. Push past all the pain and you'll find a door. Open it up and finally explore everything that you thought you could never do before. And even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Sports Report After Dark. I am your host, Seven. Dan is waiting in the background for us to get started. We got a lot to talk about tonight in the NFL as the season comes to the close and we reach the divisional round of the playoffs. First, I do want to give a special thank you to our sponsor, gunslingersoap.com. You can go to their website, gunslingersoap.com right now and sign up to get 15% off of your first order and always free shipping. If you spend over $30, that's gunslingersoap.com. Definitely check them out. Got a lot of great handmade soaps and beard products made without all the junk to pamper your skin. So go to their website and support them. We appreciate your support, and so do they. Let's go ahead and bring in the biggest dick in sports. He doesn't have the biggest dick in sports, but he is the biggest dick in sports, aside from Skip Bayless, that is. It's Dan the Dick Warner.
The biggest dick in sports clearly belongs to Michael Jordan. It's on his MVP trophy. That thing is a chode and a half, my friend. Just a straight chode.
Dude, speaking of chode, I was walking out of Walmart today, and I saw it was an old white guy in sweatpants. And he was adjusting himself. And I almost called the fire department because I thought he was getting strangled by a snake in there.
You were dick looking, which is totally normal.
He made eye contact and then started adjusting himself. How do you come on, tell me a time when you were not in that situation. you're going to at least glance a little bit.
Oh, I'm taking a glance. I'm taking a glance for sure. I mean, you have to. It's like a car wreck.
You can't look away.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I get it. I get it. We got on the subject of dicks just right off the bat.
I mean, that's par for the course. If you are new to our show, inappropriate content is kind of our thing.
We're gonna run that afterwards.
If you are listening on West Coast Radio, which you can listen to the rebroadcast of this show Saturday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern on westcoastradio.info. You can activate the West Coast Radio.info skill on your Alexa. If you are listening to this on West Coast Radio and this is your first time, you find us on YouTube, you find us on Facebook, whatever, we do get inappropriate. We say mean things. We swear. We drink. We wear our sunglasses. And we also believe that Skip Bayless is one of the lizard people. So don't be afraid.
We also speak truth and get food delivered to us on the side because that's fucking awesome. I wish somebody would just like hand me some food sometime. Like,
yeah, I don't know what they're doing. I never eat while I'm live. I don't know why they brought it in here, but it's fine.
It's all right.
Yeah, what am I going to do? Let it sit here and get cold? I don't know, but it's okay. I appreciate the attempt.
Yes.
All right, so starting off tonight, I'll let you tee it up. I'm going to give you three choices. You want to talk about your boy Tom Brady? You want to talk about Lamar Jackson? Or you want to talk about the divisional games this weekend? Where do you want to go?
I definitely think we lead with my boy Tom Brady. I mean, if you give me a choice of any three things possibly in the entire universe and TB12, a lot of the time it's going to be TB12. I'm going to give it a 99.97.
The other 0.03% is if LeBron is involved.
Yeah. So whatever the odds are on every single other thing, and then LeBron and Tom Brady. So like the percentages on that. That's so let's start with TB12.
Okay. So TB12, a lot of discussion saying that Tom Brady has played his last game in Tampa Bay following the playoff loss to the Dallas Cowboys on Monday night. So I'll start with this. Do you think with the mass exodus of coaches that Tampa Bay has announced over the last few days, do you think that these moves are in an attempt for some of them, the offensive related ones? Because I know he doesn't give a fuck who's on the defensive side. But for the offensive coaches, do you think this is meant to appease Tom to get him to come back for another year? Or do you think they're just starting to rebuild now?
Well, with Brady, we're at this weird crossroads that we come to with like a lot of these older guys. Like fucking Favre did the same thing. Like if it was up to us, we'd be like, yeah, Tom, you could probably fucking ride that Grease Mercury 51 into the sunset like Peyton did, right? Just, you're good. Like, yeah, you had a bad last season. Nobody's even going to remember that shit if you go out right now, right? That's what you would hope to tell Tom Brady. It doesn't matter to him, dude. He wants to be Tom Brady, TB12. He wants to be a football player. That's what he is. Yep. That's all he knows. That's what he is. He's scared shitless of what happens after. He's already got a job and everything set up, but he is terrified of his mental state after he gets done in the NFL. He's fucking terrified. You can tell. How can he not be?
How can you not be? And that's the thing is I think that it's one of the things that's always overlooked when you have a player that is a career professional athlete and they come to their retirement. Now I know LeBron isn't at as much of this point as Brady is, who just dealt with the divorce mid-season. But the truth of the matter is there is a lot of fear about life after football for these guys because Tom Brady has been playing football for a majority of his life. Playing football is what Tom Brady knows. And just like when you have somebody who's a career in the military who comes home from, being in the military from the time they were 17, and all of a sudden they don't know what to do because they don't have the structure and the duties and everything anymore, and they lose their fucking mind. Obviously, the military is a far more dangerous job, on average, depending on what you're doing. But there are a lot of similar feelings because it comes down to you don't know anything else. Your body and your mind haven't had the ability to learn anything else in such a long time in the routine in regards to the routine. And so you don't know what to do.
Right. And regular people seem weird to you just because that's, you know what I'm saying? Like you've been around different kinds of people your entire life, like all your best friends, all Tom Brady's best friends and everybody probably either still play football or are in the football life. Correct. So like I don't think he understands like what's going to happen. Obviously after that, he already has that fucking job with what, CBS? Is it CBS or whatever?
Fox.
He signed that contract. Fox. Okay. He works for the devil. Fantastic.
Yeah.
like we all do, Tony. Like we all do. No, like he's gonna go work for the devil, and he's fine with that because they're gonna pay him a bunch of fucking money. He's still gonna be famous and all this shit, right?
$345 million.
Being on the field is what's important to Tom Brady. Like that's how crazy this is. Like all of this outside of it that we would look at and go, Tom, just fucking bro, with CTE and all that shit, step away, man. You have done this for long enough. You don't have anything left to prove. He doesn't care. He doesn't care because he doesn't. There's only the guys on the field, his brothers, right? Like that's how it's very similar to the military too. Is like the connection with the connection with the guys next
your
to you,
teammates. Your oh yeah,
right. And I would say two major differences. Well, one major difference is that Tom is still going to be fucking, rich, famous, right? But he just doesn't get to do what he wants. I think that with the military, it's like probably way more difficult in this regard. Is that they don't hardly get any recognition. You know what I'm saying? Like, so like they're living this life still. And like, they don't ever get to hear stories about when they're, except for when they hang out with their people that they're in the military with. There's no like, there's just like hardly any recognition with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so like, that's the more tough part about the military part, but like, it is very similar.
And there's this thing, and I think that And I'm even just because I don't want people to think I'm comparing football to the military. I'm also going to throw life in prison into this too, because, all three of them, there's a lot of structure in that living situation and working situation. There is pretty much everything you do. This is what time you take a shit every morning. This is what time you take a shit every afternoon. This is what time you go to bed. This is what time you get up. This is what job you do. Everything is structured and laid out before you. It's safe. You know what to expect. It's consistent. As Tom Brady and a professional football player, that's all you know. That is all you know is that structure.
Yeah. Since
Tom Brady is 45 years old. He was drafted. He was age what? 21, 22?
I think he was 22 or 23, but yeah. So like, yes. And in college doing the same thing. What kind of, it's just but the same regimented bullshit kind of as he's still doing. So, I mean, over half this man's life, over half of it, almost 2/3 of it.
Yeah,
he's been in this structured thing.
It is over half his life, at least, that this is all he's done. And so I definitely have some compassion for him because there's no way, even as prepping to announce a game on Sunday, that it does not take nearly as much work as it does to play in the game on Sunday. Because Sunday for an announcer is about interviewing, research, talking to your research assistant about what stuff you want to know, trying to figure out what random ass facts you're going to have for situations that might happen in the game. It's more, you're more of an analyst when it comes to,
Fox,
you're more of a data analyst.
Right, exactly. Fox knew what they were getting themselves into signing him to that big contract too, because nobody watches more film than Tom Brady. He actually enjoys the shit. Okay. So like they're going to get a guy who is prepared as you can fucking possibly be to do his job. So, but it's not near as much work. Yeah. Like you were saying, like, it's not near as much.
But I mean, my question, Tom Brady loves watching film because he knows what he's prepping for. He's prepping for that W. It's the Brady mentality, the Mamba mentality, if you will, the Brady version of the Mamba mentality. Okay. And Kobe loves practicing because he knows it's going to make him better. He has no problem staying after and shooting 100 free throws to make sure that he gets his time in. Okay. Brady loves watching film. Watching film isn't as much of a common thing in the basketball in the basketball industry. So that's why this is where the parallel is. It's the same thing, but different for each of these two great players. But when you look at Brady, all of this stuff that he does in preparations for games, we talk about the watching the film, the studying the game plan, all of that he does, he loves doing. How much of that is going to stick around when he actually does take his cleats off for the last time?
Yeah, I would say a shocking amount of it. Like, if we could see his everyday life when he works for Fox, we're gonna be like, Tom, bro, you might still be a little bit too deep, bud. It's gonna literally be outside of him putting pads on and actually executing a game plan on a Sunday. It's gonna be almost exactly the same thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's gonna like be working out. He's gonna be like, he's gonna be like doing drills in his fucking front yard and shit, and like, you know, like with his helmet on out there, fucking. They're like, Tom, you're just getting in front of a mic, bro. You don't have to actually do any of that stuff. He's like, yeah, I know. Like, Tom, you're hurt emotionally, aren't you? Yeah. Oh, all right, we're not gonna talk about it, are we? Nope. No. Okay, good. Like that. it's gonna be creepy for a second. We're gonna wonder about his mental health, but he'll keep it together because, you know, it'll just be all a show that he's still gonna win on Sundays, right? But except for he's gonna win like Romo does now.
So let me ask you a question here. With Brady getting into the booth, if that becomes a thing, do you feel like there is a possibility getting into the booth that he's going to be all right in the traditional broadcaster format? Or because for me, I feel like if he was in a situation like the Manning cast, I feel like he would be much better off. What do you think?
I don't know. I think he's almost tailor-made for that fucking Al Michaels, Tony Romo, Aikman type fucking situation. I think literally he's like the fucking blueprint for what they want in that situation. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that they want a guy who's going to be honest about stuff, because he will be, because he can be, right? He has that weird thing where he can be the squeaky clean, the choir boy thing, right? But he can still speak honestly because he's Tom, and nobody's gonna be like, well, Tom, you didn't do shit. That's Romo's only weakness in his armor, is that people don't think he was that great of a player, which I actually am huge on Tony Romo as a player. I think Tony Romo is a fucking great NFL quarterback. But like, a lot of people just don't think, obviously because he played for the Cowboys and he made some fucking bonehead playoff mistakes. And that defined his entire career. But if you look at every game other than that, this guy was a fucking over total QBR of 100 almost every year and granted, his time wasn't that long. His longevity wasn't great, but like in the prime of his career, dude, I think he was one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the NFL. I don't think that's outrageous to say.
Tony Romo's problem is injury, but yeah, I mean, you could tell from jump when he got into the booth that his mind was there. Like, he knew what he was talking about. He knew what he was doing. But you know that the reason why we didn't see Brady-esque results out of Romo was because of the injury issues and the limitations that he has physically.
100%. Yep.
Because mentally, and here's the thing. If you could take Romo's mind with Brady's ability, you would beat no. Because okay, let me change my statement here, because I think that Brady getting into the booth is going to tell us really how he thinks and what he sees, and I think that that'll make it more interesting, because because Romo's mind was there, he read things and predicted things that it was just insane. He still does it. I mean, it's not as much of a novelty now. It's just like, oh, of course, Romo played. He reads defenses like a book, like he knows what's going to happen here. But I think that we're going to see something similar out of Brady when he gets in, and we're going to have combating broadcasts on Fox and CBS with Romo, trying to figure out who's going to make more accurate predictions during the game, Romo or Brady.
Right. No, that's what I'm saying. Like, because to say that if Tony Romo's mind was in Tom, I think Tom Brady is just as fucking, if not more, tuned in. Then I think we're going to see winning mentality with Tony Romo's like X's and O's. I think Tom's at that level. I think Tom's at a different fucking level completely.
That's fair. That's fair.
Did you watch the him and Woodson about the tuck rule? Did you watch that 30 for 30? Okay.
That was good. There's
a little example for you. If you've seen his fucking Brady has the film show, the X's and O's show. I can't remember what they call it. It's called like Unguarded or something like that. He is fucking on point. Like, this motherfucker, like, because he's just as physically limited as Tony Romo was. I think possibly more. I think Romo was probably a little better athlete than Tom Brady is. Honestly,
that's fair. Yeah, because Brady is not as athletic, so that's pretty fair.
I think Romo probably had a comparable arm, right? Comparable arm and everything. I think he was spread. Yeah.
But Romo was more athletic, but Brady was healthier. And I think a lot of that just comes from the amount of money they spent on his body. I've never seen any evidence that Romo spent as much or was as dedicated to that as Brady has been.
Romo's not as dedicated, period. Yeah.
No.
I don't think he's dedicated, period.
And so for me, what the hell is going on with my head? This green screen is so fucking weird.
I ask myself that all the time. What's going on? What's going on with my head, man?
It's probably a good idea to ask yourself that question at least once a day, just to be.
You
safe.
should. Absolutely. It's called taking an inventory. I'm just learning this.
It's a good thing to learn. It's a good thing to learn. Self-accountability when you're dealing with mental health is one of the most important things, because it's not about holding yourself to an impossible standard. It's going, you know what? I fucked up today, but I can do better tomorrow.
How am I going to fix it?
There's a difference. Right. It's and not holding yourself down for too long. You're supposed to acknowledge the struggle. That's an important piece of development. But it's also crucial that you don't allow it to hold you down from moving forward and getting better from the mistake. And that's so damn important.
Mindfulness is what I'm on right now.
Absolutely.
So just understanding those things are happening and thinking about those things happening is an actual step towards what you should, like that's, I'm obviously at a very early infancy stage, but like, that's what I'm starting with. And that's actually a good thing. I didn't even used to think about, what I was just like, yeah, that's just how I feel. Like,
well,
that's,
you are kind of
how it is.
You're a shade narcissistic, buddy. So that's not surprising.
Oh, I have narcissistic tendencies for sure. There's not a doubt about it.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I have to sometimes make examples for myself as to why I'm not a narcissist. I'm like, I feel bad for other people. I do. I'm like, okay, good. I just reassure myself. I'm like, yeah, no, I feel bad for other people. Yes, absolutely.
That's actually a good coping skill in that regard, because you can remind yourself that you can be better and you can walk yourself back from those urges and refocus on a more appropriate way to handle things. So that's I don't hate that tactic of reminding yourself that you do things right, because I struggle. My struggle is almost on the opposite side. I spend so much time focusing on all the shit that I fucked up that I can't appreciate for what I've done right.
Right.
Like, that I hate my comedy, but I hate my stand-up, but there are a bunch of people that have told me that they really like what I do. So I can't accept that there are people that like me doing stand-up, because I know about all the times that I've sucked. I know that I bombed in front of Kevin Nealon. Fuck you, Kevin Nealon. I bombed in front of Kevin Nealon once, and from, it's mentally when I get stuck on that one, it's like I missed my shot because I sucked in front of him.
It's a double-edged sword though, too, because you've probably had a lot of success, and you have had success because you are hard on yourself, right? And I think about that shit all the time. Like, I am the negative guy too, like about, oh, I did this wrong and did that wrong. Like, it's a double-edged sword though, because that actually is motivating at some points, right? But I do spend a lot of time like, I do spend a lot of time like, yeah, I care about Tony, right? It's not like, I care about people. Like, I do. Like, and I have to remind myself sometimes, because I do get caught in my own head. I think a lot of it is just, trying to deal with your own things and stuff like that. I've also never had any responsibility outside of myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have kids. Like, I've lived by myself for a long time, right? You know this. So like, I don't really have anything else to like, that'd probably be good for me. I have dogs, but like, they don't give a shit. They just, I just feed them and they give me lovin's, and that's about it. There's not a whole lot, of responsibility going on there.
That's pretty accurate. But it's self-accountability is a great piece of development when it comes to your mental health. That's definitely true. All right. So my final thought on Brady is this, so my final question on Brady is this, and then we're going to move forward and talk about Lamar.
Okay.
Is Brady done? And if he's not, where is he going next?
I don't think, like I said, I would tell him like, hey dude, it's good. You're 45. You did a great job. You got 7 of them. Okay. That's
out of 10 trips.
I don't think you have anything else to prove, buddy. I think you're fucking good. And he would agree with that. But he would go, yeah, I'm probably going to come back. I'm like, yeah, I knew you were. I fucking knew that you were going to do that. So yeah, just play it out, buddy. Just don't if it gets to the point where I feel like he's embarrassing himself, then I will like call for him. Like obviously he's gonna listen to me because he's a regular watcher of the show. How you doing, Tom? Tom, what's up, buddy? I'll give. I saw you text me, bro. I'll give you text back after. But no. But hey, Tom, we're talking about you right now, man. Hey, stop texting me. We're talking about you now. But yeah, no. I would tell him to hang it up, but he's not going to. And I think he'll probably. I like the fucking Vegas idea. I mean, it obviously fits. You have McDaniels. You have Vegas, you have like Tom Brady. It's a fucking weird, it's like the weirdest match made in heaven, which actually encapsulates Las Vegas as a city, which is interesting. It's just a weird mashup of fucking bright lights and madness.
Can he sign for the Raiders without at least one felony?
He'll probably end up, in the middle of some gigantic cocaine ring or something like that. It'll be like,
there you go.
Tom Brady indicted on federal charges after he leaves Vegas.
Yeah, because they got to let the rookies. They got to let the rookies in because most rookies probably haven't had a felony yet. You got to give them time.
Yeah, eight keys. Like he was giving it to all his rookie wide receivers and have them sell it. No, no. But yeah, I mean I like Vegas. I like. No, I'm saying I was there before I had a gambling addiction. Can you imagine it now?
Oh Jesus Christ!
Fuck.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Oh jeez, I would be selling like my house from there. I'm selling my house. Like, yeah, I got the deed, man. I'll sign it over. No, just give me $200, man.
Who goes into a casino with the deed to their house or the deed to their car? Like, who does that?
If I went to Vegas right now, I'd probably take I'd take a couple titles.
Really?
I'm taking. No, I'm kidding, dude. No, I would not. I would purposely not do that. Let's say that. I would purposely not do that because I would actually use them.
No, but that's the thing is I don't get why anybody would even consider that. Like, no, when I go to Vegas, I've got the room prepaid for. I've got money in my suit. I've got money in my wallet, and that's what I have to spend for the whole weekend. I prepay for everything else.
Get rid of those fucking cards. Yes.
Get
rid of those fucking cards in your wallet. No, I'd get rid of my fucking phone. My cell phone probably wouldn't come with me. I'd be like, no, I'll call from the fucking room.
I would take my phone simply because I mean, with everything else I do, I just my phone goes with me anywhere I go. If I have to have major open heart surgery, my phone better be in the fucking room. That's all I'm saying.
Right. Or you could go you could go like cell phone, laptop, stay in the room, right? But then you're just going up to the room like fucking, hey bro, let me get 100. If you have a gambling addiction, I mean, you're not. See, you're like thinking ahead. You're like, hey, I'm gonna pay for my room, bring my cash. That's the way to go, right? But like, shit, some people would drive back to Nebraska and then drive back to Vegas just to get a. Hey man. Just wait here. I gotta get a couple car titles. I'll be right back.
42 hours later, I've got 2 car titles. They're worth
some
60 large.
I was some Korean guy. $43,000. It's just a fucking mess. Yeah. I don't know why he's Korean, but
did you see that there was somebody that won a $6 million jackpot on Pai Gow poker in a casino?
Yeah, happens. I mean,
6.4 million, and the jacket after that, because it was a progressive jackpot, and after they won it, the jacket reset to $300,000. He was surrounded by police officers while he was sitting at the table. Oh yeah. There was that's the video. Yeah, the video that I saw. There were 4 that we could see. Sorry.
No, you're good. Because they like that. That's a win that I want. I want an escort out of the casino win. That's what I want. I want a briefcase and them like connected to my arm with a fucking like a handcuff. That's what I want. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then there's like 4 security guards and a couple of state patrolmen that are like gonna like, they're gonna take me in the car out of there, like take me to some undisclosed location. That's kind of when I want, because that's one of those wins. Right? That motherfucker got taxed $2.5 million for that. He only took about 3.5 or 4 of that home. Still,
it was like 6.4, and now there's no way it was that he was taxed 50%. There's no way it wasn't less.
Probably it was probably.
I mean, but 3.2 million ain't nothing to shake a stick at. So,
fuck, in cash. They give it to him in cash too, or they give it to him in cashier's check. Yeah,
3.2
fucking
million.
Woo,
3.2 million.
that's a briefcase.
That's
a briefcase full of money.
Kingsbury and buy a one-way ticket to a foreign country where I can spend the rest of my life sipping Mai Tais, served by a ladyboy with my smoking hot model.
The rest of your short life. The rest of your very short life. It's not going to last me long.
Finds me, she's going to kill me.
Exactly. If you don't die from a fentanyl overdose first, in some seedy fucking backwoods, Caribbean fucking hotel, that you've been staying in for months.
Okay, so I do think he's coming back. I'm with you. He should hang it up. And it's not. And again, I'm not taking anything away from what Brady's done. At this point, there's no way anybody can deny that Tom Brady is Tom Brady. But I can't. I haven't seen enough to think that he's done. I'm leaning towards Vegas myself. I think that I think that Vegas is a good possibility because of McDaniel's connection. But I also think that Vegas's offensive line is not that great. Derek Carr spent a lot of this season under duress. And as the Raiders, you're part of the $600 million that was spent in the offseason to defeat the Kansas City Chiefs for them to go 6-0 in the division. How much money are you going to have to be able to shore up that offensive line? I think he could make another push to Miami.
That's interesting. Just with how Tua kind of ended the season, it doesn't look real great. I think they're still really on the fence, as they should be, with Tua, because I don't think Tua might not even play another game at this point, dude. I think he needs to get out.
And here's what I say. If you're Miami, you tell Tua to sit for a year. Learn behind Tom, because
that's interesting.
I am not going to say that Tua does not have talent, because this year and the results that the Dolphins got when Tua was healthy prove that there is talent with that kid. His arm strength, and I know I was critical of his arm strength as one of his issues, because that was a problem. But you could tell as the season got on, the arm strength got better and better and better. And he was getting some deep balls out to Tyreek, and they were deep balls. So I will say that there is some talent there, but 3 concussions in one season, that's a really dangerous situation. So what you do is you tell Tua, hey, take a year off. I want you at the facility every day staying in shape. I want you at the facility every day following Tom. Listen, ask questions. Let him teach you what he does so that maybe you can still get something out of this career. Because I think if you give him a year to recover, you treat this like Tommy John surgery almost, where you have to take an entire season off because your brain deserves that much time to heal. And you give Brady one last chance with all of that talent with one of the better offensive lines in football. And they are definitely going
sunny
to
Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
He doesn't have to move far. The kids are still going to be closer to the area that they're used to when they come to visit. I think that I understand why Vegas is a contender. Not going to knock it. It does make sense. But I think Miami is a better fit.
100%. I agree with you. I love the Miami thing. In Vegas, I think we both agree. The only reason why we're even saying Vegas, it would be a thing if McDaniels wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? Like, they'd be like, oh, Vegas seems like that's kind of a Tom fit is Vegas. They would be doing that if McDaniels wasn't there. But I think the only thing that makes it valid and it might be legit is McDaniels. Does that make sense? So
it would be mentioned just because they need a quarterback if McDaniels wasn't there. But the presence of McDaniels makes it that much more desirable for Brady. And then you add in the no income tax. Right. But it's still, if he's going to stay in the league, which I think he is, and if you're San Francisco, you're still saying no, because not only are you still, thinking about Trey Lance, but if it's not Trey Lance, it's Brock Purdy, because there's nobody else that has earned that right more than Brock fucking Purdy.
Oh, he took Tom Brady out of the conversation. Brock Purdy at least did that. He at least did that. So I don't think that's even a fucking contender. I think that I love your Miami thing, but like, will they be that sensible? Because that's just a logical, sensible plan. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just like, you're just spewing out what's the most like efficient and like for Tom and the Miami Dolphins, right? That's a fucking match made in heaven, really. And Tua, yes. It works for everybody there. Like, that's just like a perfect fit. I love it. But like, will that happen? Like, how often does that happen? You know, where they actually get together and there's no politics involved and they actually make the correct decision. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's the hard part about any entertainment, any entertainment industry type of a gig, which athletes in professional sport, it's that they're entertainers. That's what they are. Let's just leave it how it is. Or let's just call it what it is. But, you know, for this situation though, it's, you know, or for the NFL, there's always going to be pissing contests. If it's not the player and the team, it's the player and the team in the league. It's the player and the team in the league and the NFLPA. There's so many dicks at the urinal. Everybody's getting splashback.
Yeah,
you know,
and the biggest ones are always the fucking owners, pretty much.
They may not be the biggest, but the owners don't give a shit. They'll pull that move like from Letterkenny where Shorzy stands all the way back at the 4 and rocks a piss from like 10 foot back hitting the urinal. The guys that are standing on either side, Riley and Jonesy, they're getting hit by all that back spray because of the momentum. So it's that's, I mean, they don't give a fuck.
Dan Snyder's like that guy that just pulls up and just pees right next to you and like crosses streams with you. Like, just there's 2 stalls open and Dan Snyder just steps in the same divider with you and just starts fucking just right crossing streams with you, like just against your will. That's Dan Snyder. But yes, that's like the owners.
He's reaching out and offering to hold it for you so you can check your phone. That's what Dan Snyder's doing.
Yeah, he's like, hang on, let me send this email real quick. I'm emailing the head cheerleaders staffer. Like, all right, Dan, whatever, dude. Yeah, no, I had three things to end on.
This in the dead of light.
Yeah, let me just get a pic. And then this light is just so good. This ambiance is great for this. Hang on. And he's actually just still peeing while he's taking it. Like, you're gonna do that while you're all right, dude. No, three things. So you said that like Tua, 3 quick things to end on Brady. Tua, you were like critical of his arm strength. It's not elite, but like he didn't get drafted that high because he didn't get drafted that high and they didn't know that he had a fucking, you know, he doesn't have a noodle arm. Let's just say that. Like, he looks good in fucking sweatpants throwing a football. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no way that dude can't throw 65 yards. It's just, is he going to be able to hang in there after all of this? Mentally, we don't really know that or not.
And this is why I'm advocating for Tua to take a year off. And you put Brady under center. Tua takes a year off. Now, it's because I always felt like Denver would have been in a better position with Tebow if they would have had Tebow sit behind Peyton Manning instead of pissing him off and losing him. And then Tebow goes and fucks off. Because you can't tell me that 2 years behind Peyton Manning wouldn't have made Tebow a better quarterback.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so again, I'm not saying Tebow was elite, but he did what he did his rookie year and he had talent.
Right. And I think his arm skills are kind of comparable, except for like he just changed the power, the throwing strength and the accuracy around. Does that make sense? So like,
yeah,
Tua's got incredible accuracy. He's a lot like Drew Brees, where the fact he's kind of a below average to average arm, but great accuracy. And you can absolutely, Drew Brees, for example, like if you get in the right system, you can absolutely use accuracy to shred people. Like you could shred people. And like in the NFL today, it's kind of turning to the point where you do have to have that deep ball arm, because a lot of it is, you know, play action, deep passes, things like that. But like, he's got enough arm strength to make it in the NFL. There's no, the field's only so big. The field's only so big, and then, you know.
And that's what I'm saying about Tua is, you know, I saw development out of Tua this year. And again, that's despite the fact that he had 2 concussions early in the season. Tua did not look bad when he was healthy. With this 3rd concussion, though, I mean, either for him, he has to just walk away completely, or he has to be accepted.
Take some legitimate time off, like you're saying, basically.
Yeah, you have to, take some legitimate time off. Let your body heal. Let your brain recover. Because, when we talk about CTE, one of the things about CTE that makes it, that makes it happen is the frequency of the concussions and the lack of recovery time. I think if the NFL said, all right, if you have anybody that has 3 concussions in a season, they have to be on injured reserve for the next season. Make them ineligible to play. They still get their injury pay, because obviously you can't give them I can understand teams aren't going to want to give them the full rate because of the fact that they're going to be sitting. I get that. But you still give them their guaranteed part of their salary, the injury money.
Right.
And give them all of the resources they need from the team facility to make sure that they have time to train, recover, let them still sit in on the meetings so that they can keep that stuff fresh and work on focusing and retaining that information, because some of it may be relevant next year, but it's a red shirt year, if you will,
right.
Let him get reacclimated and recover. And if you're Miami, reap the fucking benefits of selling all of that Tom Brady merch, all of those tickets, because you've got Tom fucking Brady under center. And and those beautiful fucking seafoam green fucking unis. Ooh, God, he's got a great jawline. He'd look great in seafoam green. I mean, I don't know, with his age, it might not look as good, but
I mean,
I think
he's like Clooney, bro. He's like Clooney.
He just owns everything.
Gets better looking.
What it is, he looked good. Yeah.
Guy built $1 billion tequila industry as a side hustle. George motherfucking Clooney.
George motherfucking Clooney.
No, he is though. But yeah, I love the Brady's Miami thing. And once again, with your Tua stuff, with him sitting in here, you're thinking correctly and logically, and that's definitely the best thing for everybody. Unfortunately, and this is fucking infuriating, that in the NFL a lot, it doesn't happen that way because like it's just ridiculous to think that money is not obviously the most important thing here. So how is the most money made? And then if that lines up with the Tua sitting for a year thing, then it does. And that's why the Tom Brady thing is so intriguing, because it actually does, right? But unfortunately, with some of these things, it doesn't match up to the fucking money. So like it doesn't happen. Like, and if that you're just being so logical and correct, it doesn't happen that way in the NFL for some reason.
And that's the thing is what I'm throwing out here is not crazy. My idea of a year out for Tua, for anybody dealing with 3 concussions in the season, especially a quarterback, there's nothing crazy about it on paper. It's just too many dicks in the urinal, so to speak.
Right. Dude, it's not even crazy. Like you're saying it's like not crazy. Dude, it's not only not crazy. Like, I think if we just got 10 like halfway intelligent people together and like, hey, what's the best way to tackle this scenario? And just gave them like that case, we would all come to the verdict that your idea is probably the best thing to do, I think. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's, I think, what they should do moving forward. It's just like, it sucks that that's not what happens. Yeah, like, because like, why would that not be what happens? Like, because there'll be some issue with how, Tua could take the rest of the salary if he doesn't play the next year. Like, that'll be something about it. It's always about the money for them.
No, and that's the thing, is that's why you allow there's got to be concessions on all sides. But the league has to, the league is going to have to be willing to say, okay, you're not taking the cap hit for his full salary since he's sitting for next year. It's your cap hit is whatever his injured salary is, which that's reasonable.
Absolutely.
That makes it easier for the team to accept. Okay, so yeah, it sucks that Tua is sitting for a year, but we're not eating $45 million in cap space. We're eating 15 because that's what he gets for injury. Okay,
right.
So here's the deal. Now we've got $30 million that we can give Tom fucking Brady to play 1 year,
and he'll make us that back tenfold.
And yeah. Between between broadcasting, between, the TV deals and the ad deals alone would pay for it. But if you're Miami, you're not going to have a game that's not sold out all season for a home game.
Right.
So
that's the residual stuff.
Yeah. I mean, and the extra merch that you're going to sell, you're making a fucking ton in jerseys. And the profit margin, it pisses me off what the profit margin is on jerseys. Like, yes, I get that they're double stitched when you buy them from the NFL like that.
Bro, but it takes $2.50 of labor time to make that fucking jersey. Like, it's maximum.
Yeah,
they're made in fucking machines.
The total cost of those jerseys is less than $20. And they're selling them for 150 to 180.
Ain't nobody's hand stitching that motherfucker. Let's just say that. Like, yeah, it's stitched on there, but there isn't some lady just sitting there going, "Oh, we just got to get this number on here." No, it's it's a machine that somebody is running. There is no way in hell that is that expensive. $50 maximum, and you still make 100% profit. Well, but no, let's just go 170 on it. Like,
it's like the site that I buy jerseys from that gets the ones that are supposed to be mistakes, like, the Ross or TJ Maxx of buying NFL jerseys. They're selling them at a third of the price.
Yeah.
And
what site is that?
The same one I've been getting it from. I've sent you the link half a dozen times, bro.
Oh, have you really? Okay.
Yeah.
I probably looked at it then, huh?
Yeah, because I including shipping. So the site that I buy jerseys from, including shipping, I can get 3 jerseys for $140. And this isn't just NFL. This isn't just NFL. This is across all major sports. Right. Like the last time I ordered, I got a Mookie Betts. That's when I got the Mookie Betts jersey. I got Amber the Randy Johnson, and I got the there's another one that I got. I can't remember which one it was, but yeah, I got 3 jerseys, and it was less than $140, including shipping. Now, I had to wait a month because it came internationally, but I could have turned around and put those online for $100 a piece and made $170.
Straight to the source is where you're going.
The ability to go buy a legit one
wholesale
from the NFL after selling 3 wholesale at slightly below retail. That doesn't make any fucking sense to me.
And what you're buying is that little NFL logo that goes right here on the neck. Okay, so there's one on the neck right here that you get in fucking baseball cards, and those things are worth like fucking $60 by themselves. Just that little part, and then like that goes on there. So you're paying for that, and then you're paying for the Nike swoosh, and then you're paying for the fucking NFL shield right above that. That's all you're paying for on all those jerseys, because you can get ones that are made exactly like that just don't have those 3 things, and they're $50. You know what I'm saying? So like,
yeah.
So Tony, what I'm saying is we need to get a lot of those little NFL shield triangles, a lot of Nike swooshes, and a lot of NFL shield fucking sew-ons, and then we just buy a bunch of the other ones, put them on there, and then we sell them. I shouldn't have said this on the thing. Everybody will know. No, and then we just sell them for 3 times the price.
And what's going to save us in expenses is the Nike swoosh on those jerseys is stitched on too. It's not even a patch. It's just we just threaded on there. Yep. So with a machine embroidered on there. So I mean, that's even less. That's just thread.
I mean, give me 45 minutes of my materials, Tony, and I'll figure out how to put that little NFL shield logo right here with the gold with the cover on it. I'll be like, dude, looks like it's seamless. Not even like looks like it's on there. You'd be like, oh fuck, it does. Like, yeah, this was not an NFL jersey before I got a hold of it. Like, how much do you have it on eBay for right now? $280. Somebody gonna buy it? Yeah, they already did. Somebody just bought it
as we speak.
Yeah. I'm just wrapping it up. Send it out tomorrow.
$5 on eBay.
Got it. It's a great seller. Great seller, as described. A++. So fucked up, dude. Oh man, that is fucked up.
Okay.
The last thing on Tom Brady, for real, last thing is any room that guy walks into, whether it be the fucking Raiders or the Dolphins, best bet you that fucking Tom Brady is going to have every single piece of leverage that is. He gets to call whatever he wants. If he says, "Hey, I want a fucking jar of brown M&Ms brought to the front of my locker before every away game," they're gonna be like, "Oh, okay, weird, but yeah, gotcha." Like it's just gonna be like whatever Tom Brady wants is Tom Brady's gonna get if he's coming back. Like he can literally just go, "Yeah, you guys are gonna miss out on $350 million in revenue." Like, ugh. might just walk away from this. Like he just has the leverage to like hang it over their head so he can get whatever he wants. That's the last thing I was gonna say about Brady, because like he'll be in charge of whatever situation he's in for sure. That's what we can guarantee.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And unfortunately, like with the Tua thing, I think the only thing that might get in the way of that is like his lawyers. I don't think Tua is the type of guy to do it, but like a lot of players, agents and stuff, they'll be like, I only get 15 mil of that. And well, we want 25. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think Tua would do that, but like some of them would, unfortunately. And that's what we're talking about as far as like it won't get done logically because it's all about money to them. Like So,
but that's the thing is there is a reasonable is part of it is the agent and the attorneys, like that's their job. Their job is to get to every dime that they can, but also by extension that gets them every dime they can. And so anything that negatively impacts that bottom line is going to be fought tooth and nail because that's their fucking job. But I still say if you're Tua, you tell him, look, I don't want you guys to do anything. You kind
I think you do too.
Tua, if you really want to show leadership and care for yourself, that's what you should do. And the reason why I say it's not to criticize, and I understand you deserve to be paid what you're worth. Taking a year off is going to mean that you can have a more a longer career, get more out of it, and you'll make that 15 million back, 20 million back that you lose off of that one season that you sit. Which, because he's still under a rookie deal, I don't think it's even that much.
It's not.
It's like 7.5. Right. I mean, and that's the thing is like in the grand scheme of things versus what he can make later, if he takes care of himself and is able to stay in football, he's going to get more money. If he fucks off right now and fights it and forces his way onto the field next year and then gets hit again and ends up with CT and all these other issues, he's putting himself at risk for so much more.
So right. It's going to be more. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a sorry, real quick. I have a dog that is just barking at something.
You're good.
Pamela.
But
yes.
She's
over there. Being an asshole.
Good old Pamela.
Good old Pamela. Okay. She hears a car and has to bark at it.
All right. So let's move on. We've been on this for almost an hour. Lamar Jackson.
Wow. Didn't even seem like that.
I know. That always happens when we get going. Lamar Jackson, looking at a contract situation with the Baltimore Ravens. They are prepared to use the franchise tag on him. They are adamant in public statements over the last few days that Lamar is their quarterback going into 2023. But the truth of the matter is they still will not offer him what he feels like he deserves. And I understand Lamar's point of view. He has produced really good numbers with jack shit to throw to. And they're trying to undercut his value and continue to not provide talent around him. Or, hey, look, Tom Brady did this. Yeah, Tom Brady also got Super Bowls out of it. You guys aren't putting any talent around me. Why the hell am I going to take a pay cut for you guys to fuck off and not give me the support that I need? He's on a rookie deal still. He's on a rookie deal, and he has Mark Andrews.
And maybe one other person. He's MVP. He's an MVP.
And if he would have played all year, yeah. He's already won an MVP. It was his second year in starting. He won an MVP.
I believe so. Yes. Yep.
Like Lamar Jackson clearly has talent. When you have because I was looking at numbers on Lamar Jackson today because I was curious about what the results look like.
He clearly has limitations, right? I mean, he has limitations. A lot of, I think that MVP, I think that Lamar Jackson should get his fucking money because that's how the market is. That's how it goes. And look, sorry, Baltimore, you're going to have to pay up. That's how it's going to have to be. Like, do I think he deserves a fucking $200 million? I wouldn't pay him $200 million. If I'm a GM, I'm not paying him $200 million. That's just me. But like,
here's
deserves
my
it.
thing. Now, I have been Lamar is another quarterback that I admit I have been critical on.
We
But
both have.
we both have, but it's just simply because we have watched enough football that we understand that there are some things that are off there. And I was looking at stats. We love stats. And for those of you that are watching that are wanting to know reference, I use statmuse.com. We are not affiliated with them because they won't give us money to be, but I recommend them personally just from experience standpoint. They have good numbers. So let's just look at the last two seasons. In the last two seasons, this year and the 2022 season and the 2021 season, Lamar Jackson played a total of 24 games. In that span, last season he had 38 sacks, or he was sacked 38 times. This year he was sacked 26 times. That's 64 sacks out of 24 games. That is an average of over 2.5 sacks a game. Now, when we look at one of the more common topics of around Joe Burrow, who we're going to be talking a little bit more about here in a little bit, is the number of sacks that he has. Joe Burrow has 92 sacks off of 32 games. Okay. So 92 sacks off of 32 games. That's just barely higher than Lamar Jackson at 2.8. We'll call it 2.9 sacks a game. So a little closer to the 3 sacks a game than Lamar. But
we have to look at the style of play as well, because those we do love stats, but stats cannot tell the whole story. And this fact right here, that Lamar Jackson's style of play is conducive to getting sacked. He bails a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like, he takes a little bit longer, I think, than Joe Burrow does to process plays, because he wants to run, because why wouldn't you if you're fucking dude, that guy is a freak athlete. Like, why would you not want to run a little bit?
It's not even his athleticism. It's that he knows that if Mark Andrews isn't open, he's got to be prepared to get the fuck out of there, or he's going to get his ass kicked.
Right. And he does. Yeah. Go ahead.
And that's my thing. It's not, because when we look at Joe Burrow, like, everybody can agree with the fact that Joe Burrow is sacked way too much because Cincinnati keeps trying to improve their line and completely missing, like they're Brett the Fret Maher trying to kick a fucking field goal in a wild card game.
Brett Maher from
Nebraska, right?
Nebraska.
I heard somewhere he went to Nebraska.
Go Big Red. Actually, one of the best kickers in the game. He just fucking missed a couple of extra points.
That was such a bad game to have, man. I feel bad.
Yeah, like, it's a playoff game. He's actually a really good kicker. He went 31 to 34 in the regular season.
Yeah, I thought he only missed like 3 or 4 over the regular season.
He's a stud. Yeah, he was really good at Nebraska too. He almost won. He won a Lou Groza award at Nebraska. I think 2 of them. I think his junior and senior year, he won the best kicker in the nation award. He was fucking nails, dude. He went like 38 for fucking 40 his senior year or something like that. So he's nails.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of talent there for him. But anyway, back to Lamar. Lamar barely has less sacks with dramatically less talent. Dramatically less talent, because you can't tell me that Cincinnati talent, or that the Ravens talent wise for their receiving core is anywhere near what they've gotten in Cincinnati right now.
But I think that you're right on the fact that he hasn't had any help as far as like weapons go. Right. But that offensive line has actually been pretty solid the whole time he's been there. I mean, they're a run first team.
Really?
Like, so absolutely the offensive line has been pretty solid the whole time.
Because Joe Burrow, who is clearly one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the game for the last 2 years,
yes, their offensive line is garbage.
Their offensive line is garbage. Less than half a sack, a third of a sack difference per game between Lamar Jackson's numbers and Joe Burrow's numbers.
Right.
That is not a big difference. The big difference between the two is that Joe Burrow has more targets. Joe Burrow has Joe Mixon.
And Joe Burrow processes plays better than Lamar Jackson does. And he's not thinking, let's just get out of the pocket because I can run, because Joe Burrow can't run. You know what I'm saying? So Joe Burrow is taking sacks because he's holding the ball for too long too, on top of his offensive line. But I think Lamar Jackson is holding the ball too and taking a lot of sacks because he's not because he's thinking about running a lot, dude. You can tell he's thinking about running a lot. And like I've said, why would you not? You're probably outside of Michael Vick, you're probably the most explosive quarterback runner that we've ever seen, right? I don't think there's another guy who's that explosive. Like that spin move, his fucking MVP year against the Steelers where the two dudes hit each other. Like what the? Since when do quarterbacks do that? That's not realistic. That's a fucking wide receiver move.
Wasn't it that year where Patrick Mahomes missed a couple of good hits in a game later that year, and he was like, "Oh, was that like Lamar Jackson? Huh?
Yes, yeah." He was like, "I'm up there with Lamar Jackson." He basically like smirked about it. Like I think I'm up there with Lamar Jackson. He's clearly poking fun at himself. Well, like yeah, I mean that's how big of a freak that guy is. The guys in the NFL are like, "Ooh, he's a freak runner," and he's got a freak arm. Okay, but I think he's thinking, and it's not that he's just not processing the plays fast enough. He's bouncing on the plays really quickly, faster than Joe Burrow is. And that causes sacks too. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think Joe Burrow's holding on to the ball. His offensive line just sucks. I think Lamar Jackson is rolling faster, and they're getting him in the backfield. Does that make sense? He was going to go run, and I think they're getting him in the backfield, and I think they're counting those as sacks statistically. Right. Does that make sense?
So when we look at, and on the opposite side, when you look at certain stats with Lamar Jackson, you see that he had, come on here, I'm trying to make sure I have the right numbers up in front of me. There we go. Okay. So he had he threw for 2,800 yards in 2021 on those 12 games, 16 touchdowns, 13 picks. Which, I mean, that's not great numbers, but this season through 12 games, he did 17 touchdowns, but only 7 picks. And honestly, for me, the fact that even though we didn't see a huge change in the touchdowns, the fact that we saw a very significant drop, almost cutting in half the interceptions, for me, that's what you want to see. Like because if you can stop the interceptions, the touchdowns will come.
Two things on that, and I agree with you that the interceptions are down. With Lamar Jackson's stats, I'm looking at them right now too. You can tell that he plays in a run-first offense. And Harbaugh has always been a run-first offense, okay? And obviously with a quarterback like that, that's a very advantageous way to play. It doesn't help you come from behind very often. But also, statistically, I would love to look at the number of dropbacks per sack that Lamar Jackson has taken compared to Joe Burrow, because I bet Joe Burrow's dropbacks to pass are about double what Lamar Jackson's are. So like, yes, he gets sacked more.
Back, yeah.
So like he's not coming out of the shotgun a lot. They're not just Peyton Manning it and Peyton Manning's going Omaha and fucking, doing the weird leg up thing, and they're taking shotgun snaps. He's under center, like which almost no quarterbacks are anymore. Like Lamar plays under center about half the time, So like he's in a much more run heavy offense, and it's not good that he's still taking that many sacks. And like I said, I think it's because he is bailing on plays pretty early. And I think that's my biggest hit against Lamar Jackson. I think that his biggest talent, and that he can run the ball, and he's got a fucking cannon arm. The running, I think, actually is a detriment to his mental game, because I feel like he's gonna try and go rely on it whenever he should be relying on that 3-yard slant to get a first down. You know what I'm saying? Like he's gonna bail on that slant real fast to go try and get it with his feet, and I think he's thinking that in his head, and it actually is a detriment. Whereas Joe Burrow doesn't have that in the back of his head because he can't. He's like, I'm not going to get there, right? He's like, I'm not going to get 3 yards. Lamar can just go get 3 yards on the ground.
Mm-hmm. Well, and
that makes sense.
No, I see what you're saying, and like the importance of Lamar's ground game is I don't think is stated nearly enough, because you look at arguably his best season, inarguably his best season, 2019. He rushed for 1,200 yards.
Yeah, a quarterback.
Had 7 rushing touchdowns. He had his longest rush was 47 yards. He had a 47-yard rush.
That was the spin move.
Yeah, that was the spin move one. He rushed for 71 first downs. He only fumbled the ball 8 times that year. despite
71
having
first downs.
176 attempts rushing. And he only lost, but out of those 8 fumbles, he only lost 2.
And those fumbles aren't even on the ground, bro. I bet 6 or 7 of those are when he's dropped back and somebody strips him when he's trying to throw the ball. That's not when he's actually running the ball. I guarantee he only fumbled it maybe once when he's actually running.
Yeah. And he had a QBR that year of 83. He only had 23 sacks that year. So in his greatest rushing year, his second season as a starter, despite rushing for the most attempts in a season that he has in his career, 176, he was sacked the least or the second least amount of times at 23, only 23 sacks, only 2 lost fumbles. And you know what the difference between 2019 and this year is?
He had more weapons. Jackson?
Well, no, because he played 16 games in 2018, so there was plenty of film on Lamar Jackson in 2019. The difference is they had a better line. I think that line in 2019 was one of the best lines Baltimore's ever had. They had a better line, and they had more talent at wideout than they do now. They had more running talent. You had to prepare for a lot more for Lamar Jackson and the Ravens in 2019 than you do in their current state, because now it's just
for sure.
Put somebody in spy, run rush 4, rush 3, put somebody in spy, and probably send them 2 if it's a pass,
right?
And
or
you're
just
fine.
have them...
you can blanket coverage, because if you double Mark Andrews, everybody else is 1-on-1, you're probably fine.
Right. And that's almost what those Derwin James, like I'm a huge Derwin James fan. That's what those Derwin James safeties are like. Those guys are the spy dudes. So like they're actually athletic enough to play about 8 to 10 yards deep in the middle of the field and spy a quarterback like Lamar Jackson, and also play the pass. You know what I'm saying? Like, so they're just, Derwin James is like 6'3". So like literally he's just in there playing linebacker, but he moves like a safety, right? So he can go foot for foot with Lamar Jackson. Nobody can really do that, but he can go laterally with him a little bit.
There's definitely similar speed there.
Right. And like, but my point is, like, he can play the pass in the middle of the field on Mark Andrews and those tight ends in the middle of the field, and be a spy on Lamar Jackson. And that's hugely difficult for Lamar Jackson. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's hugely difficult for Lamar Jackson to read, for one. There's always just a guy like spying him, and you don't know where that fucking player's at. He's not even guarding anybody. He's just mirroring you. He's just moving wherever you're going, which is very strange, right? And then, like, it's just hard to read, I guess. And I don't know if Lamar got a whole lot of those kind of looks, because you don't have athletes like that in college, right? I mean, the guy was obviously a fucking freak in college, but like, you just don't have athletes like that can do that. And then he gets to the NFL, they see some film on, like, okay, so we're just going to drop the safety and we're just going to mirror him the whole time. And like, it's taken him time to adjust to that, because it is very difficult. It's incredibly fucking difficult. Playing quarterback in the NFL is incredibly difficult, right?
And especially when you look at, where he went to college, because he went to Louisville.
Right.
That's an ACC school. It's not like he went to Alabama or Michigan or, Michigan or Ohio State, where he's facing SEC schools and facing pro style defenses, running pro style offenses,
or at least pro style talent.
And at least talent that's going to be noticed on the pro level, because even Derrick Henry has called out the fact that the talent in the SEC is just better. By the way, if you haven't watched the Bustin' with the Boys podcast episode this week with Will Compton and Taylor Lewan, Derrick Henry's the guest, and he is an amazing interview. Definitely recommend it. It was a great show to watch.
Interesting. I'm going to watch that. I love Derrick Henry, and I love Taylor Lewan.
So good. And Taylor Lewan's great. I'm kind of sad that because he's mentioned this year, since he's been injured, the Titans are probably going to cut him. And I feel bad for him, because I think he's a talented player. I think he's a talented athlete. He's a great lineman.
Dude, do you know what his actual like intangibles are, like as far as his measurements? They have Taylor Lewan listed at 6'9", 335 pounds. He is a freaking gigantic individual who has nimble feet.
Big as fuck. Yeah. Great on his
very
feet,
nimble. Though. Long arms. Like, that dude's a fucking freak tackle. Like, he's like the prototype of what you would want in a left or right tackle. He's perfect.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like,
exactly.
He was a fucking all-pro. That guy's borderline Hall of Famer. He won't be just because he didn't like plan any great teams or anything. He's kind of going to be a Hall of Very Good. But
I don't know. I mean, because I think it really depends on what happens next season for him, because he's put up enough results. If he can come back for 1 year and just close it out, and the last memory that the Hall of Fame voters are going to have is, let's say, a dynamite season where Kansas City moves on from Orlando Brown. We bring in Taylor Lewan, and he keeps Patrick Mahomes safe all season.
And pulls an Andrew Whitworth.
It's hard to argue. Yeah, pulls an Andrew Whitworth. At that point, it's hard to argue with him not going into the Hall of Fame. Right now, he's not there, and I'm not going to argue with that. But I think it's reachable if he can produce when he makes it back.
100%.
That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, no, 100%. And the Andrew Whitworth thing, like that's the only reason that we consider Andrew Whitworth a ironclad. That guy's going to be in the Hall of Fame is because of that, second to last year. I mean, I think he came back this year, but he's 39 or 40.
He didn't come back this year. He
retired.
He retired. He was on NBC, or he was on the Amazon broadcast this year.
You're right. Yeah. So he just basically said, okay, I'm done. That's some grease right off into the sunset and the Mercury kind of thing. He just wrote off, and that's the only reason we're going to go. Andrew Whitworth is a fucking ironclad Hall of Famer, right?
He's not, but he's not first ballot.
But I think he's definitely going to get in, and I think it's only because that last season. So your point about if he just comes back,
he ended on the right note. And that's the thing is, and especially, and I think that this is an important thing for especially like linemen and guards and tackles. Anybody on the offensive or defensive line, you need to leave them, if you can, to state your best Hall of Fame case. You need to end your career on the best note possible.
Right. Super Bowl would be an emphasis if you can, obviously, because they'll go back and go, the 2021 Rams accentuated by Andrew Whitworth's play at left tackle, right? It'll be accentuated by Aaron Donald at defensive tackle, right? So these guys who aren't going to get a lot of the press, dude, Ndamukong Suh has been one of the greatest defensive linemen in the NFL for the last 10 years, right? Nobody ever talks about him because all he does is eat double teams. He doesn't do anything sexy. These guys double team him because he's a freak.
He gets talked about because he steps on a lot of players' hands. He's kind of a dirty player.
The quintessential version of the nicest guy. He's like the quintessential version of the nicest guy ever in real life, who then gets on the field and turns into a fucking animal. And I love it.
He does.
I love it. He's a fucking savage. He's a fucking savage. He was like that in Nebraska.
The number of times he's gotten fined because he just steps on players' hands. He doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't treat his opponents with the respect that you would normally think a healthy competitor should. And I think that's the reason. Now I'd still take him on the Chiefs, because I when I think about him playing for my team, it's almost like, because when Boston traded for David Price, I know you and I were already friends at that point. And I said a lot of things that I can't repeat on air because I cannot stand David Price because he is a dirty fucking pitcher and a piece of shit. And I hated to see him in a Red Sox uniform. But he gets results on the field. And so as much as I don't like him, the way that he portrays his personality and the fact that there are some dirty elements to his play, he gets results. And so it's like, you can live with it. With Suh, or Sue, I understand. It's
Sue. A boy named Sue.
A boy named Sue. Got it. That's a good way to remember it. I like that.
Yeah.
With Sue, he's actually you can tell he's a decent guy.
His first name is pronounced in Donkey Kong.
And Donkey Kong's
and Donkey Kong,
a boy named Sue.
A boy named Sue, yeah. And Ndamukong Suh. I've met him. I think I've told the story on the show. I've met him. I shook his hand and his middle finger touched the middle of my wrist right here.
I remember.
And I was like, please don't kill me. I was like, please don't kill me because I feel like you could. He had a schmedium shirt on and he had a six pack. He weighed 325 pounds. I could see his abs underneath the shirt. And I was like, what the fuck is going on right now, dude? I was like, what are you made out of? Is there some kind of machines in here? Is there what is this thing? I was like, I felt like it was a fucking amusement park ride. I was like, what the fuck? I'm touching him and shit. He's like, stop fucking touching me, dude. You're being weird. I was like, I'm sorry. I can't fucking get past this. You're fucking, but Yeah, no, he's one of the biggest human beings I've ever met in real life, dude. He's listed at I think he's listed at like 6'4", like 310. That guy is every bit of 6'6" inches tall. Like he's every bit of fucking 6'5". Like he's huge and he's fucking like his shoulders are fucking probably 4 feet. Like he looks like Dwight Howard sideways. Like he's just fucking like he's
a big
massive
dude.
individual.
He's
massive
absolutely.
individual. Watch the sports science with what's his name on Ndamukong Suh if you get a chance. Have you seen that?
Yeah,
have you seen that?
That was a good
with Ndamukong Suh. Mm-hmm. He lets Ndamukong Suh hit him, and he just goes off the line. Like they just go from tackles. He's like all scared and shit. He pads up and everything. The guy who hosts it, he's all the 5'7", 140 pounds, and Ndamukong Suh literally lifts him off of the ground. Dude, literally goes out of his defensive stance and just lets him hit him. And he fucking throws this fucking host of sports science like 7 feet in the air. The best part is listening to the guy who hosts it analyze his own footage of him getting thrown through the air. He's like,
that. Oh my god!
Like, at a maximum, he's like at a maximum point. Ndamukong throws me 8.5 feet at my apex. And he's just fucking ragdoll. Like he's just like through the air. He's like,
oh my god!
He throws him onto a pad, and they judge how many joules he generates from like his fucking defensive stance. It's insane. Like they're like that means Ndamukong has as much power as a Mack truck. You're like, what the fuck? Like he can generate as much force as the bumper of a Mack truck, and you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? But yeah, dude, watch that shit. We should post it on here. We'll post it in the fucking things. It's one of the best. It's like 3 minutes long. It's one of the best ones ever. But yeah, super nice guy. Anyway, he's like the version of that. And like I don't know why we got on Douglas too, because we're talking about Whitworth and shit. But yeah, he's one of the nicest guys ever too.
So back to Lamar. So my first question to you is with regards to Lamar. Like we talked about the situation. Do you think my first question is, do you think the Ravens will get a deal done?
Yes, I think they will, and I think it'll be one of those weird situations where they're going to set it up. Like if you ask those dudes who are actually running that franchise, like if you got them a little bit whiskey drunk and we're like talking to them at a bar and they're like, hey man, be honest with us. Like, and they were actually honest with you, they would tell you that they're setting this thing up so they don't have to keep him for that long. I think that they're going to sign this deal to avoid major PR relations going very bad, because people are going to hate that if they just like, no, we're not going to pay you. And then like people are going to hate that. So they're going to pay him, but they're going to set it up for them so that it's not going to be a long-term thing. I think 2 to 3 years is the maximum that Lamar Jackson is in Baltimore. If things don't change, obviously they could fucking turn it around 180 degrees and we'd be like, okay, well, obviously he's going to be there for the rest of his career. But barring that very small chance, I think that he's only in Baltimore for 2 to 3 years. John Harbaugh is not a fucking quarterback whisperer. Let's just say that.
No,
he's
not.
Very defense, very running oriented. That isn't the style of the NFL right now. It's not. That's your guy Vrabel, who you fucking just bag on all the time. I'll give you that. I like Vrabel as like a motivator, as like a rah-rah guy, but Vrabel's weakness is that he still lives in that 2001 Patriots, the Patriot way type of mentality where it's defense, run the ball, that's going to win us NFL games. I don't think that's the case anymore. And I think that these guys not moving on from it makes them dinosaurs. And Belichick is smart enough to have – Belichick has evolved because Belichick's the fucking GOAT, bro. He's the GOAT. He evolves with how the game goes because he's so smart about it that he knows that, like, okay, this is how they play anymore. And he takes everything into account and then makes his game plan. While Vrabel is going, well, we won these fucking Super Bowls in 01, 03, 04 doing this. So it's going to work now. It's like that was 20 years ago, bro. It's not how it works anymore. It's a different game.
And my criticism, but before we go back to talking about Lamar on this again, my criticism with Vrabel is literally that he can't close. Okay, and there's so much fucking evidence to my statement. Last year, the last 2 years, Kansas City couldn't stop the run to save their fucking life. But each time they walked in, they came against Kansas City, Derrick Henry went for less than 100 yards.
Right.
And that is the games that they should have won. Now, yes, there was that game where the Titans came back against the Chiefs in the playoffs. Oh, wait, that was in 2013. That wasn't Vrabel.
It wasn't Vrabel. Yeah, no.
Oh,
yeah,
wait,
that was
the Colts. That was the Colts.
No, you're right. No, I think it was. I think it was the Titans, dude. I think it was the Titans. Yeah, because I know what you're talking about, and that was like the depths of all-time Chiefs fucking fandom was like,
dude,
like again.
Yeah,
I think it was 2016. I think it was like 16, not 13, but like it was like 2016.
No, it was 13, and it was the Colts because they were talking about it on the Jags game with that blown lead because that was the second. So I retract my statement on that part of it. But Vrabel can't close. That's the thing.
Which actually helps.
And I'm going to say
helps your case.
It's the statement. It's just like with Brandon Staley. Now we're looking at Brandon Staley and the Chargers. The Chargers just cleaned house, pretty much. Kind of like with what the Bucs are doing. But Staley got to keep his job. Staley can't close. There is so much goddamn talent in LA with the Chargers.
Yeah.
As a Chargers fan, you know this.
Yeah.
Staley can't close. The only reason that Mike Vrabel isn't getting called out for this is because of 01, 03, and 04 with the Patriots. That's it.
Yes. And also I think that he's almost like disguising it behind he is a rah-rah motivator. And you would think that rah-rah motivators could close, right? Because that's about heart, right? When you close, that's about heart. And that's about having your guys in the right mindset, right? Which I think Mike Vrabel does. I think that he does keep that team in the right mindset. I think a lot of it is that he's just had some unfortunate breaks. And I think a lot of it is that he has Ryan fucking Tannehill as his quarterback. He has a guy who played fucking wide receiver at Texas A&M playing quarterback for him. He's like if you bought fucking Lamar Jackson on fucking Mercari. Like that is fucking Ryan Tannehill. Like that, it's bad, dude. Like that's
if you bought Ryan Fitzpatrick on Mercari.
Yes. Well, I'm trying to think of another one. Like fucking Tebow. If you bought Tebow on Wish, like that's I would because Tebow can run.
Fitzpatrick. I'd put Fitzpatrick. I'd put Tannehill above Tebow. I mean, Tannehill was able to stay in the league. I would put Tannehill.
I don't hate Ryan Tannehill by any means, but I think he's an average to possibly a little bit below average NFL quarterback.
He is,
which is going to be really hard for you to win. Because we talked about this. When was the last below average quarterback that won a fucking title?
Trent Dilfer gives us all hope.
Dilfer. It has to be, I guess, doesn't it? Like it has to be Dilfer, right?
Because that was really. I think that was really the end of when because. There's that saying about defense wins championships. That's not as much of a thing as it used to be because with how much the passing game in the NFL has expanded, it's definitely more about the offense now. But when the Ravens won, what was that? 02?
03.
No, because 03 was Patriots. It was 02.
So it was 02, yeah. Yeah, it was the year between.
Yeah, Trent Dilfer and 02 between, yeah.
Yep.
So they were able to do that, but that was really the last time where it was that much about defense. Now, there have been some more defensively strong teams, but they still had an above average quarterback. Trent Dilfer wasn't just average. He was below average. Sorry.
The Rams last year had a great defense, but they also had Matt Stafford, who's fucking incredibly talented quarterback, right?
Exactly.
I mean, wouldn't be the quintessential winner, but
the Rams defense got them to the Super Bowl, but Matt Stafford made it to where they were able to. Matt Stafford kept them in the game so that the defense was able to make the impact that they made. And I think that's go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, and in this day and age, I think that the defense can't there's so many things that can go wrong with how you can't really hit anybody anymore. You can't do this, you can't do that. So these guys are not afraid to go across the middle anymore. Like Justin Jefferson, dude, I love Justin Jefferson, but Justin Jefferson ain't running fucking slant routes in 2003 when you have Ed Reed and Ray Lewis playing in the middle of that field. Tell me that Justin Jefferson is going to run a post and risk getting hit when you can still hit up above the shoulders and you can lead with your helmet and you can fucking just straight play Pachyosaurus and shit. He's not doing that. He's not going to do that. He's not going to have 1,900 yards in a season. That's just how it was, dude. In 2002, I would love to go look up, or we could probably look it up, the receiving yards leader for a single season for the season in receiving. What do you think the yards and the touchdowns were compared to this year? Because I bet there was, off the top of my head, I'll bet there was 5 guys who had more receiving yards this year than the leading wide receiver in 2002.
Listen, it's actually the numbers aren't as different as I expected because I just looked it up. So the leader for wide receiving yards in 2002 was Marvin Harrison. 143 receptions for 1,722 yards.
One of the greatest seasons ever.
Right. But what didn't Tyreek Hill for $2,000 this year?
No. Justin Jefferson went for just around 1,900. He went for 1,880. Okay. And then Tyreek went for like 17 something. And then there was like a 16, 17. There's like a bunch of them.
So second was Hines Ward, 112 receptions, 1,329 yards. Randy Moss, 106 for 1,347. And Eric Moulds had 100 receptions for 1,292 yards. So when you look at that versus this year, I mean, I would bet for this year, you probably have, I would say you probably have what, 3 at 1,500 or more?
You got 4 at 1,429 plus. Stephon Diggs, AJ Brown, Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, and Jefferson. Jefferson went for 1,809, like I thought, so just over 1,800, not just under.
Yeah.
Tyreek went for 119, 1,700 yards. Devontae Adams went for 1,500 yards. AJ Brown had 1,496, and Stephon Diggs had 1,439. So
right, but this proves the point of the need for offense. You know, the need for offense, because in 2002, defense mattered more when it came to results. Now, defense is more about making sure that it's now flipped. Then offense made sure that defense's impact mattered. Now, defense makes sure that what they're doing on the offensive side of the ball matters. Okay?
That's a really good point.
But with Lamar, if I'm Lamar Jackson, I'm telling the team I'm not signing any offer until I get at least 2 more wide receivers that are not injury prone. Like, I want you, trying to grab a Stephon Diggs, Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill-esque type player.
Even go out and get me an AJ Brown.
You know what I'm saying? Like AJ Brown. Try to see if I can give Julio an actual good final season. Give me some, but again, Julio spent most of this year on injured reserve, so I can't even say that. I can't give me at least 2 results proven receivers that are not injury prone, or I'm not signing for less than $60 million a year.
Yeah.
You put their nuts to the fire, because here's the thing. If they say they're going to use the franchise tag on him and he doesn't play because of the injury issues that he has, he should probably be rehabbing anyway. Like, let's be real here. With everything that he's had to deal with this year, he probably should be, and especially as bad as his injury was at the end of the season, him sitting out, holding out, is to his benefit physically.
Yes.
And we always talk about the money, but anybody that has worked a job that pays well, but the job sucks because they're not giving you everything that they need, will tell you that it's not just about the money. And I think for Lamar Jackson, the biggest issue for why he hasn't taken a team-friendly deal is because it's not just about the money. It's the lack of fucking support. Again, I'm not Lamar Jackson's biggest fan, but Stevie Wonder can see that he doesn't have a good fucking wide receiver core, which is crucial for you to be able to get anything out of a quarterback, especially somebody that's run prone.
Absolutely. And like, let me put it this way. Like, I think we're both so much for Lamar Jackson getting $250 million. Like, we both want to see him get $300 million, right? Like, I think that we can both agree on that. Whether or not we think that he deserves it as far as a GM standpoint goes, fuck those guys. Let me say that again. Fuck all those dudes. Fuck the Ravens owner and the fucking Ravens GM. Lamar Jackson deserves $300 million per par of the course that he should get, right? Is it a good move? Is it a good move if you're the fucking Ravens? Like, no, it's not a good move if you're the Ravens. Like,
No.
probably not, because he's injury prone. And he seems like one of those guys who's going to continue to be injury prone, right? Like, that's probably going to happen. So it's not a good deal for you, but I think that he should get it. I want him to get it. And I think that's why they're going to come to a weird agreement where it's going to be like, all right, we're going to give you a 6-year deal, but it's going to be very front loaded, incentive heavy on that first 2.5 to 3 years. And then they'll be like, we'll come back to the table at that point. I think it's what the deal is going to be. And so that's only 2 to 3 year risk on Baltimore's part. And Lamar gets fucking paid up front $60 million a year for the first 2 at least.
So,
right?
Like
something
what
like
Dallas
that.
did with, like what Dallas did with Dak.
Exactly. Do exactly something like that.
That makes sense.
Maybe not, it's not going to be as intense probably because Dak's was like super all time intense, right?
Yeah, but I think he got
like
$75 million last year.
You got $75 million the first year, and then it went down to like 52. So like this year, you get paid like $52 million, which is fucking outrageous. He's the highest paid quarterback in the NFL yearly.
But I mean, but at the same time, the Cowboys didn't really have the assets to move off of him. Baltimore could make a choice, but if he doesn't sign that franchise tag, there's nothing he can do. There's nothing they can do.
Which I wouldn't if I was him.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Unless they
throw $75 million at you. Unless they go, okay, well, we'll give you, the whole fucking franchise tag plus this much money, then maybe I do.
Well, again, I say no, because without that actual support, without credible support, like you need to tell, if Baltimore trades for, let's say Mecole Hardman is a good number 2. You get Mecole Hardman as your number 2, and you find a number 1. I'm not really sure who's going to be on the market, so I don't want to spitball names there, but I have a feeling in this offseason, Kansas City is going to move off of Mecole Hardman.
They don't need him.
They don't, and he's talented. He's talented enough that you can get decent capital back for him. So it is a Brett Veach style move. Easily assume that they're going to move off of him. Okay, so you get Mecole Hardman as your number 2, and you find maybe you draft a number 1.
Yeah. Do something splash with a splash.
Right. Get you a decent number 1. Lamar comes back to the table and says, I'll sign the franchise tag and I want $45 million a year for the next 3 years. We'll plus some incentives. We'll drop it down to 30 for that following 3, but we'll be planning to come back to the table after year 2 to see where we're at and what we're going to do. Okay.
Right.
That makes perfect sense. If I'm Lamar, I'm getting some support. This gives Baltimore, you get me 2 decent receivers. It gives Baltimore time to look at other options and maybe find him a decent number 3, maybe improve the running situation a little bit, shore up the line a little bit. Maybe they grab Taylor Lewan and give him a shot to keep Lamar safe. Not, all not bad moves. But if I'm Lamar, he's got to think about his future career at some point too. Yeah, he's not getting sacked to Joe Burrow numbers, but he's still getting a lot of sacks. He's still taking a lot of hits.
Running the ball and getting hit, yeah.
And so you've got to think about your longevity if you're somebody like Lamar, because his situation isn't going to be like DeMar Hamlin's, where it's so public that the team doesn't have a choice but to make sure he gets paid because of despite his injury. And it's not going to be a difference of $30,000 like it was for DeMar Hamlin.
Right.
The owners of the Bills wipe their forehead sweat with $30,000. They just use $100 bills to wipe up the sweat. So $30 million to $30,000 to DeMar Hamlin, that was nothing to them. Honestly,
it's like
me handing a homeless guy $30 on the street. Like,
yes.
In the grand scheme of things, it's not really that much. But
no, their accountant honestly didn't notice it in the amount of decimals behind. Like he was like, $30,000. It must have just came out of the stock prices for those guys probably go up and down that much in an hour. It's
honestly
easily
So-
they do.
But when you look at, you look at Lamar's situation, if he's getting, if they're going to say, okay, we're going to give you $45 million a year, but realistically, it's only 25. He only gets 25 million if he gets injured. They're not coming back to him and saying, hey, because of everything you've done for us and how you put their body on the line, we're still going to give you that extra 20 mil. It's not happening.
Nope.
So if I'm Lamar Jackson, I'm not taking anything until I get assurances that I'm going to have something to throw to and protect me when I fucking get there.
100%.
And anybody that criticizes Lamar for holding out until he gets exactly that is not paying attention, and he is not greedy. It is completely reasonable. I don't want to pay $250 million to Lamar either. Like I said, still not his biggest fan. But today's star quarterbacks in the NFL, and that's exactly what Lamar Jackson is. He is a star quarterback in the NFL. He needs to have people to throw to that are actually talented, and he needs to have a line to keep his big ass safe.
Absolutely. Yeah. 100%. And anybody who, like you said, anybody who like criticizes him for like holding out to get that money that he deserves doesn't make very much money, because that's what, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of the attitude you have to go into it with. And you know what I would do, Tony? You know what I would do? I would just get them to give me as much fucking guaranteed money up front as possible. I'll sign a $75 million fucking franchise tag, and I'm quitting. I am absolutely quitting on the Baltimore Ravens in its entirety. I won't actually quit, but I'm just going to act like I'm going to act like I'm rehabbing for the next like 3.5 years or so. Next 3.5 seasons. Man, coach, it's the back of his hammy, man. Coach, back of his hammy, bud. They're like, Werner, you've gained 35 pounds. Yeah, well, you know what? I can't run because of the hammy. And it's just, that would be for the next 3.5 years, bro. Just suckling at that Baltimore Ravens money teat. Money just fucking shoot, like grinding it all up into a green gel and shooting it into my veins would be just taking all of that shit. If I'm Lamar, and dude, you can't tell me that there's not at least a couple of guys that think like that in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying Lamar Jackson does, because I feel like he doesn't seem like that kind of guy, but like there's dudes who absolutely think like that. Like, why would they not? Le'Veon Bell was a perfect example of a dude who thought like that. Clearly, okay, this guy fucking held out and he got it. He ended up making like $85 million out of it because he held out for like a year and a half. And the Jets were like, "Yeah, we'll pay you because we feel like you're definitely still going to be motivated." And he's back there like, "Yes." And Le'Veon Bell won on that day. Le'Veon Bell won for the rest of his life. He was like, "Yes." He was like, "They think I'm gonna play."
It was in Pittsburgh. Was it James Conner, James Cook? There was one of them that held out for a while in
Le'Veon held out in Pittsburgh. Le'Veon. Oh,
that's right. Okay, it was Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
he held out. Okay, but no, but that's the thing is Lamar is actually in the driving seat in this conversation, and I think Baltimore has realized that, and because that's why they're, we're 200% in on Lamar, because that was a direct quote from their GM today. We're 200% in on Lamar.
How can you be 200% in on something? That's my question.
Because he and Jim Harbaugh are going to try and split roast Lamar Jackson to screw up.
I think
that's 200%.
I'm not a smart man, but I think 100% is the maximum that you can do anything. It's actually like that encompasses the entirety of what you can do in a situation. Sorry, I give it 110%, coach. I don't have. That's fractionally. It's not possible. Stop saying 110%. I don't get it. Like, what am I, a person and a fucking tenth of a person? If there was a little tenth me that was next to me, then I could give 100 and he could give 10. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like,
you do have a tenth of a person between your legs.
He can give 10 and I'll give 90. and that's the 100. And then, but I can't give 110% because I don't have it. I'm giving you everything I got, and that's 100.
All I got, Captain.
All I got, Coach, and that's all I got. I'm only giving it 92%, actually, realistically, but still, 110 is ridiculous. Get out of here. You can ask for 100. You can ask for 100, but I'm not. That's not gonna hit it. But like, that's right. So I'm getting as much as I can, though. If I'm Lamar, getting as much as I fucking can.
Do you think that so we're going to wrap up Lamar here. Do you think that Lamar ends up in a situation where he's signing the franchise tag because he's getting traded to a team that's going to give him a deal that he wants? There's been some talk about Chicago, a couple of other teams that have the money to pay him what he wants and potentially more resources to be able to get him what he wants. Do you think something like that comes into possibility here?
Yeah, I think that he probably is going to, if he doesn't already have in his mind that the Ravens are fucking around with him, do you know what I'm saying? Like, because obviously, like, if you haven't just like signed me to a contract at this point, you're fucking with me on terms that I don't feel like I should be fucked with on.
Yeah.
Due to my past performance at this job, and that's the fucking card that I would play to. Like, I've been doing pretty fucking well here, right? And I think that you guys, you owe me $12.50 an hour, and in this case, it'll be fucking $60.1 million a year, whatever the fuck. But like, I think that you owe me this much amount of money, and I think that is a lot based on where he's going to come from with it. But you're not paying him for like what he did, though. That's the fucking craziest part about it. Like, in some situations, they'll get the deals that are like lifetime achievement awards, but he's not at that level. He's in the prime of his career still, and that's why it's so weird. Do you think he's going to have much of a prime left? I don't, because I think he's injury prone. I think there's just like too much going on there. He's very sinewy. Very sinewy. His muscles seem like they might be a little bit, while strong and agile, maybe a little bit fragile. Does that make sense? Like, I just feel like he might be kind of fragile, which is fine. It's not his fucking fault. It's just, he plays in the NFL. These guys are huge. They hit you really hard. Like, we can't really blame him. Like, we can't blame him. He gets hit by fucking freak athletes all the time, and sometimes he gets injured because like all of us would. Like, I would fucking die in an NFL game. I would get killed as a punter. Like, if I ever got blocked, I'm fucking probably like my leg's broken in half. Like, it was just fucking, I'm down. I'm done. Yeah, just done.
All right, so sign and trade.
Roughing the kicker.
Sign and trade
for Lamar. Like,
yeah.
No. I mean, if I'm the Ravens, yeah, I take that. Like I said, I know that we're Chicago, both not high on him.
Look at Chicago. Look at Chicago. You get the chance
Justin
because
Fields.
They've got Justin Fields, but you can trade Justin to Baltimore for Lamar. You've got all of that cap space that they've got in Chicago to not only pay him, but grab some other talent and just build through free agency and get some pieces in the draft that you don't for the picks that you don't trade away. But building free agency, you've got the money.
God, Tony, if I'm the fucking Ravens, I take that deal in a second. You get Justin Fields back. Yeah, and you don't have to pay Lamar Jackson. Like, oh my God. Yeah, you take that deal immediately. I don't think that Chicago would ever do that deal. I think Chicago likes Justin Fields. But like, if that's a deal that they come in with,
as they should, he's a talented player.
Fuck yeah, take that fucking deal, dude. Yes. You get Justin Fields on a rookie deal to for the next 2 or 3 years. Oh yeah. Yeah. And I just don't think they'll ever come off of them. But go ahead.
I think it's possible, but I could honestly, you want to know what? I could see if there's a sign and trade, I could see Vegas trying to make a push for that if they don't get Brady.
That's interesting, and I think that's totally possible. Like, why would you? I mean, for what Vegas is trying to do right now, right? Because they have Devontae Adams next year, right? And that roster's not overly young, right? So you would kind of get all these guys as like a win now type thing.
The window is closing on that roster for sure.
And that's the only thing that I would even fucking deal with the Chicago thing is like even kind of contemplated is like if they're win now, then you get Lamar Jackson because I think Justin Fields is going to take a second to even get to Lamar Jackson's level. But like,
that's fair.
Is Lamar Jackson going to be healthy? There's so many question marks, and you're almost trying to find lightning in a bottle. Like, oh shit, hopefully he's MVP for 1 year, right? Like, let's just hope he's MVP for 1 year, and then we can after that it's over, and you better win a fucking Super Bowl too. Yep. Like, just so many possibilities that could go wrong where it's just like not a safe bet. But for Vegas, they're all about not having safe bets, man. It's fucking Las Vegas. Viva Las Vegas.
All right, so we're going to run ads for a minute, and then we're going to come back and wrap up with the divisional round that will be played this weekend. Stick with us. We will be right back.
Yay.
Wrap up your Monday with some laughs. Make sure to join Will, Seven, Dan the Dick Warner, and Josie as they dive into the hottest topics of the week across sports, including baseball, basketball, and the NFL. You can catch the episode live Monday. Wrap up your Monday with some laughs. Make sure to join Will, Seven, Dan the Dick Warner, and Josie as they dive into the hottest topics of the week across sports, including baseball, basketball, and the NFL. You can catch the episode live Monday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern on youtube.com/The Sports Report Podcast, or Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Eastern on West Coast Radio. Don't miss the Sports Report Podcast. Don't miss Fight Night. Every Tuesday night, Will Morgan and Josie Haney break down the hottest topics of the week across combat sports, including UFC, boxing, WWE, AEW, and more. Past episodes are available on youtube.com/The Sports Report Podcast, and each episode will air again Thursday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern on West Coast Radio. Don't miss Fight Night. Tune in or tap out. It's time for more Dick, more Stacks, and more basketball talk on the hardwood. Every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, you can catch them live on youtube.com/The Sports Report Podcast. Join them as they break down the hottest topics of the week in the NBA, along with the age-old argument on LeBron versus Jordan. This ain't one of Shaq's free throws. Don't miss it. I think that wrapping up line, this ain't one of Shaq's free throws, that's probably one of the best things I've ever come up with.
I was just going to say that. I was like, that's such a fucking great last part on that.
Some of the best work I've done. I love it.
That's
first
awesome.
Show, Sports Report, Monday nights, 10 Eastern. Me, Dan, Will, and Josie talking all things sports related. Tuesday nights, Fight Night with Will, Kill, Stacks, and Josie talking combat sports, including AEW, WWE, UFC, and more. 10 Eastern Tuesday nights. Wednesday nights, it's the Dick and Stacks talking basketball, 10 p.m. Eastern on the channel you're watching this show on. And then, of course, we run here on Thursdays, Sports Report After Dark every Thursday at 10 Eastern. Winter meetings will be back next month-ish. The end of February is what we're shooting for right now. Last week of February, first week of March, just kind of depends. Talking all things baseball. Me and Craig will be diving into things. Stefan, unfortunately, will not be back as he passed away just after Christmas. And thoughts and prayers definitely still go out to his family, especially his daughter, for that loss. But we will be ready to go. We're going to be talking baseball. We're going to be having some good time. So before we wrap up tonight, let's talk about the NFL divisional round this week. We've been talking NFL topics all night. Let's talk some game. So,
on an NFL topic real fast, look what I just got.
You got another box?
That's 20. No, those are 2022 Mosaic. They just came out. For anybody who's into the trading card, 22 Mosaic football. Mosaic football is a big deal. I did not even know these were on the shelves yet. And the first card I get, I like Davis Mills.
Are you serious?
I like Davis Mills right in the front. It's not a rookie card. This card's not even worth the fucking card stock that it's printed on. But the first one out is a fucking Davis Mills.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Oh,
no, that's an
okay.
interesting little.
So we'll go ahead and take the lead. Chiefs and Jaguars. Very clear Kansas City favorite here. I think they're favored by like 10 points. I like the matchup for the Chiefs. It'll be a good warm-up game for Patrick before he moves into the AFC Championship. But I don't think it's going to be
it's the only guy that anybody could do that for and not be like, well, wait a second. Nobody's even like, well, wait a second. Like, yeah, it's probably pretty accurate.
but here's the thing that throws me off. I think that the odds makers disrespected Jacksonville a little bit with this game because the odds makers put the spread on this at 10.5 points.
It's got to shrink before.
I would say it has to shrink. There's no way it can be that much because I think Jacksonville keeps this to within 7. I was
gonna say because give me 10.5 all motherfucking day.
Yeah, I'll take Jacksonville.
I don't think Jacksonville's gonna win, but like very rarely do teams win by more than 11 points in the NFL. Very rarely, especially in playoff games.
I mean, I can't recall this year Jacksonville ever losing by that much at any point this season. Now, last year during the Urban Meyer era, I could see some, I could have seen some blowouts there, but when I look.
If I'm you,
okay, they lost by 10 points to the Chiefs earlier this season, and they had the blowout where they lost 40-14 to the Lions. But outside of that, I mean, they haven't.
If it's
really
actually
had
10.5
margins.
Do you have a book right now where it's 10.5?
Hold on,
you need to get on that immediately. Like, if I'm you, I'm putting $100 down right now on a 10.5, and it'll stay 10.5 for people who don't really know betting that much. Like if you make a bet at 10.5 at a book a week early, it doesn't matter if you were a week early, you get to keep that line. That line doesn't change
even
with
if the line moves. Yeah,
you get so like if they make an outrageous thing and then later in the week they're like they kind of recount their steps and they go, oh shit, like maybe we should make it closer. It doesn't matter because you made the bet when it was 10.5.
It's actually okay. So it has gotten closer. It's 8.5 now, which is closer to being reasonable. But that's closer to being reasonable. But I would honestly.
That's where I don't put it in the right.
I would still put $50 on them covering at 8.5 because I still think it's going to be within a touchdown. And but the problem is the odds are so shitty on that. It's just minus 110. It's not worth it.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Is it like what a trap game? What a trap game that fucking Chiefs Jags game is.
But that's the thing is when the Chiefs go into a trap game, they win it by 3 points. That's Kansas City's go-to move. So many times this year, with the and now Jacksonville, when Kansas City played Jacksonville earlier this season, they won 27-17. So that's 10. That's 10. But that was also in week. Was it 6?
It was in Jacksonville in the regular season.
No, it was in Kansas City. They were at Arrowhead.
Oh, it was? Okay.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that was around week 10. Week 10, week 11, somewhere in there. So and obviously after that, they've heated up. They are a much better team, and they haven't had, with the exception of the blowout, to the Lions 2 weeks later, where they lost 40-14. They haven't had a bad game since.
Well, and my thing with Patty too, dude, like Patty, like think about how talented Patrick Mahomes is. We're gonna suck on Patrick Mahomes' wiener here for a second. This is how talented I will just all the way to where the thighs are touching my bottom lips. We will like this. This man is so talented. He's so inconsistent at the same time that he's kind of like he's a roller coaster ride, but the roller coaster is so fucking good that you don't care if it gets stuck on the little loop-de-loop thing once in a while because it's so much fun, right? Like, and it gets the job done. But like he's more of a question mark than he probably should be sometimes, and that's why like the betting line on it is not real like solid ever. And that's a trap game and a half, is because he's not. He could come out and dominate them, and they could win by 36 points, and nobody would be surprised. And then Jacksonville could keep it to within 3 points, and nobody would be surprised. But he's still going to win the game. That's the kicker. He's still going to win the game. It's just by how much you have no idea. He's a betting nightmare. Quite honestly, he's a betting nightmare. And
but obviously, I mean, pick wise, Kansas City's the favorite. Is that a Mahomes? There you go.
Yeah, that's right on top.
Obviously, Kansas City pick wise, but this could be this legitimately could be a trap game for Pat and company. Okay, Giants, Eagles.
What if the Jacksonville wins?
they're losing. Then whoever wins out of Bills and Bengals is going to the Super Bowl because that hot streak can't continue.
Here's my question. How much are the odds on Jacksonville winning outright? Winning the game? Do you have those on there?
333. I'm looking right at them. It's plus 333.
So 100 to make 333.
Yeah.
If they went outright. That's not a bad bet. Maybe 50 to make 176, 50, whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah, and that's the thing though. And it's, but betting on Kansas City to win is minus 450. So you're getting, you're not getting shit if Kansas City wins. It's not even worth it to mix it into a parlay because it's going to kill your numbers more than it's going to help it.
That's such a weird game. That's why I stopped betting on the Chiefs because that's how every fucking game for the Chiefs is. He's a nightmare. Game. I don't even bet sports because I can't. Like I totally would if I could. But like I don't really bet sports, but I would definitely not bet. I have seen enough on Patrick Mahomes' fucking against the spread and shit. He's weird as fuck, dude. He's weird as fuck. You can't figure it out. You're like, I don't know if he's gonna show up or not. And it's like, they'll still win, but like, is he gonna show up and beat him by 30 or it's just so weird. But go ahead. Sorry.
It's a giant question mark. Okay. All right. Giants, Eagles. Giants have been on a hot streak recently. This spells upset for the Eagles, which the Eagles are favored by 7.5, which I think that's still a little straight. I would take that simply because I think that's a 3-point game. If Daniel Jones continues to play like he has, white Michael Vick, that's a 3-point game.
That's a solid bet.
Yeah.
That's a solid bet to take New York minus 7.5.
Yeah, I would take New York to cover in that game. I would.
NFL East or NFC East battle too. Mm-hmm. Those are always fucking knock them down, drag out fucking slobber knockers.
It's in the over under on that's 48. Honestly, I would take the under and the Giants to cover in that game. I could still see Philly winning by 3, and that part of that's just because I want to see Travis Kelce and Jason Kelce in the Super Bowl because I think all the content we would get out of that would be fucking glorious. But in the same regard,
like 2 weeks.
Yeah, for like 2 weeks of good content with those guys going back and forth. The shit talking would be hilarious, especially because they're brothers and they know how to fuck with each other. It would just be great. There's no way content.
There's no way they would go all the way up to the end either. It would be like a week earlier they're cutting it off and somebody else is doing it for, you know what I'm saying? Like they'll just have one of them do it and then they won't be on there, guaranteed. They'd be like, I'm gonna go fucking get this. This is more important than our fucking radio show.
Yeah,
that's what's gonna happen for sure. Yeah.
But who you got on that? Are you taking the Eagles or are you thinking the Giants can upset this one?
I mean, I obviously, if I'm a betting man, which I am, I would definitely take the Eagles, but not against the spread. If it's
they're not
line. Yeah, like no, I think that it's going to be the Eagles are going to win, but because I just don't. I mean, Daniel Jones, like, hey, hell of a fucking game last week, bud. Hopefully you can. I mean. Seriously, and talk about a fucking athlete at quarterback, man. Daniel Jones is a fucking athlete, man.
This year proved that Daniel Jones has talent under center, and I think that's great because like I remember when you and I were talking about it when he was drafted, I was like, really? Because I wasn't sold on Daniel Jones, but he
still shouldn't be,
and I'm not completely, but yeah. His legs are a part of the game we didn't expect because he's built like Aaron Judge.
He looks like Andrew Luck. That's what he looks like. It's like Andrew Luck. He looks
like Andrew Luck, but he's built like
Well, Aaron Judge is a little bit different. Aaron Judge is like 6'7". I think Daniel Jones is about 6'4", 6'4", 230.
Okay,
Daniel Jones is 6'5". I think he's listed at 6'5".
Let me look at it because I think he's bigger than that. Okay.
There's no quarterback in the NFL taller than 6'6". 6'6" is the tallest quarterback in the NFL. That's
okay. So
your Cam Newtons, your Mike Glennons. Yeah.
6'5", 230, whereas Aaron Judge is what? I know
6'7", 290. 6'7", 290 is what they have him listed at.
Really?
Yeah. He's gigantic. He's bigger than Daniel Jones for sure.
He's 6'7", 282 according to ESPN. So all right, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's big. You don't normally expect a big quarterback to have that kind of speed.
He's a good athlete.
Great. I mean, and that's the thing is that's if it was the Daniel Jones of last year that the Eagles were facing, I would take the Eagles to cover. But right now, I'm taking. I mean, and even the money line bet on the Eagles is minus 350. I'm still. That one I would go in and do a 1-game parlay where I'm just betting on individual player results. But I'm not wasting my money on money line bets. I might go. I mean, and even that one, the spread, it's still just the minus the 110. I
am right, and you're looking at the Giants could catch lightning in a bottle. I mean, because that
could be what they're looking at. Yeah, Saquon is doing great right now.
You got Saquon, who is the fucking lightning in a bottle, fucking definition for an NFL running back. That is like he's going 70 or it's going 1.5. There's no in between. So he's going for a 70-yard touchdown or he's going to get, knocked down in the backfield. That's kind of Saquon's thing. And that's because he's not in between the tackles runner. He shouldn't be. I mean, I honestly wouldn't be at this level of, unless you're Derrick Henry size, you are not in between the tackles runner in the fucking NFL.
No.
230, not Derrick Henry size. He's a kind of a different animal, but like if you're 230 plus, then you can run between the tackles, but Saquon's is not even close to that. And I feel like he's a little bit fragile as well. He's got a lot of Saquon's has got a lot of what we used to call chick muscles. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where you do the where you do the curls, and he clearly does the he does the quad extensions where he gets his and his calf raises and stuff like that. The chick workouts. He's very chick workout. Looks like he's solid, but he might not be. He's probably not that flexible. That's a big thing. Flexibility is Tom Brady's fucking mantra. Talk about how he hasn't got fucking injured, dude. Be flexible. Like just be flexible. So like, cause you're going to get these weird little situations where you get tackled under the pile or something and somebody hits your leg and it goes a weird way that it shouldn't go. And like, the more flexible you are, the further those things can go without breaking. And it's so important in football. Like people are like, always like, oh yeah, I want to be this big, like fucking cock diesel. Like it might actually be better to be resilient compared to like just fucking pure brute strength, because you can break brute strength. All that force is very breakable. And whereas if you're just pliable, fuck it. You get hit, bounce off of it. It's rubber. It's kind of rubbery, and like Brady looks like a fucking, looks like Gumby and shit. Like with his arms fucking. Yeah, like they're very flexible anyway. But I don't think Saquon's is very flexible because I think he likes some chick workouts a lot. Like he does a lot of curls, does a lot of quad pullouts, things like that. So, but the Giants could catch lightning in a bottle. Is Jalen Hurts playing? He is playing. Yeah. He was literally, they were getting him ready at the end of the season, basically to like, hey, we're just going to have you come back for playoffs because they were already in it, right? That's basically what's happening. Okay. So yeah, that's an Eagles game all day. And unless Daniel Jones runs 23.4 miles an hour again or something like that. Remember that video?
But doesn't stumble this time.
The video that made him both simultaneously a doof and also a great athlete was the same video. It's like, this motherfucker's going faster than any running, like Lamar Jackson speed. This guy's got straight line Lamar Jackson speed.
He was cooking in that run.
23.5 miles an hour is.
I was watching that game when that happened. I remember that. I was actually watching that game when that happened, and he was booking. And then all of a sudden, and here's the thing, I will even call myself out on this and I felt so bad for him because I remember my sophomore year, it was last year I was playing soccer. I was in a soccer game and I was playing in a JV game and I got the ball and I was just running up the sideline because I was playing as a wing and I went down and I was like, there's no way somebody had to come up behind me and trip me. What happened? I went to my coach. I was like, why wasn't there a call? Did somebody get me? And he goes, no, there was nobody around you. I was like, God damn it.
Yeah. It's
like so fucking bad for him because I know how that
it happens. Dude, it's like the wide open 3 thing in the in the NFL or the NBA. It's like the wide open 3. Yeah. If you take too long and you're too wide open, you think about it for a little bit too much. And like, dude, I'll give you a high school story real fast. I was a sophomore in high school. I'm at like the 10-yard line. There's nobody within 30 yards of me, and I'm about to run the ball into the end zone, right? I'm at the 10-yard line, and I went to do like a Reggie Bush thing, like I was going to take it and like fucking put it out in front of me, right? And I go to fucking put the ball right here to put it in one hand, and I need it out of the back of the end zone.
Oh my God.
In a game. in a game.
No.
Touchback.
No.
Gave the other team the ball going back the other way. Because I literally was going to take it from I was just carrying it normal. I'm out in front of everybody, and I literally was about to score a touchdown. Yep, going to take it and do a Reggie Bush, trying to be fancy. I'm a fucking just flip into the end zone or something, and I fucking kneed it as hard as you can fucking possibly knee a football, dude, out of the back of the end zone. And the worst part is it almost doesn't go out of the back. I'm so far away from it that it almost didn't get out of the back of the end zone. And I ran after it like I was going to recover it in the end zone. And then I kicked it out of the back of the end zone. I knocked it out of the back of the end zone, trying to jump on top of it.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So that's embarrassing.
The sideline must have been fucking brutal, man.
My coach made me take my gloves off. He was like, take these fucking things off your hands. It's like, take them off. And I was like, what? He was like, take them off. And he made me put on my old ones. He was like, those, because they were new. They had some kind of sheen over the outside of them, apparently. No, it was me being an asshole.
You didn't break it. You didn't break them in during practice, and so
they were great gloves. They were great gloves. I was just trying to be a fucking asshole, and I was trying to fucking celebrate at the 5-yard line and kicked it out of the back of the end zone. Yeah, same game. Ran into the back of my left tackle as well, going full speed. Ran into the back of my left tackle and almost butt fumbled, almost pulled the fucking Sanchez, but he just knocked me straight on my ass. Just ran it, and I flattened right back against him. Yeah, just ran into his back. On film, it's hilarious. It's zoomed in on. I just went straight backward. It almost gave me concussion. I think I had whiplash.
Can you find this video? I kind of want to see it and post it.
Yes, I have. I think I might have some DVDs buried somewhere of the old fucking Fall City Tiger days. I'll get you. Yeah. You know what? It's funny because there's definitely they made those highlight films after the season, and they would always put the songs over top of it. And always one of the songs was "The Boys Are Back in Town." Boys are back in town is always one of the songs. If you watch any of those high school fucking edited films,
every high school football team playlist, that song is fucking on there.
Boys are back in town. It's this is so gay. Pick a different song. What are we doing? There's better songs than this.
Okay, so I'm intentionally saving the Bengals and the Bills for last. So let's talk 49ers and Cowboys. This one I think is actually going to be the closest contest out of all of them. But I still like the Niners because I still think the Niners have a better offense. I think they're like this. Honestly, I think they're like this. The Niners are here, the Cowboys are here, but the Cowboys there's still a little bit of a gap. I think if OBJ was healthy and they had signed OBJ and had him as a wide receiver, I would be taking Dallas over the 49ers.
I think that definitely closes that gap a little bit, but I don't think San Francisco's roster is superior at this point. I think San Francisco's roster
they have a hugely superior offense.
I think that their roster as a whole is pretty superior. I mean, their defense is number one in the NFL, isn't it? Yeah. So Eric Armstead and those boys, yeah. So they're so just their whole roster as in totality, I think is probably the most talented roster in the NFL. Of the teams that are left, I don't think there's a doubt.
They're the most complete team left. I will say that, and I would say that I don't want, as a Chiefs fan, I don't want a rematch of the 21 Super Bowl. What was that? Was that 2021?
I think it was the first one. Yeah, because the one they won was against San Francisco, right?
Yeah,
San Francisco didn't beat them in a Super. So that would be because Pat won.
Yes, that was 20. One. That was 20. Yeah, so that was 2020, because 21 was the one that they lost to
Brady,
and then this 22 was 21 was so that was 19. It was 19.
Okay,
because
that makes sense.
20 was the one that they lost to Brady in the pandemic year. 22 was Matt Stafford. 21 was Matt Stafford. 20 was the one they lost to Brady. So 19 was
you were right the first time, because it was 22 technically. February of 22 last year would have been when Stafford won it. That 21 would have been Brady, right?
Yeah. So. Yeah. It was, because the Chiefs won right before the pandemic started. That's right. So I don't want a rematch of that season, because the Niners are a more complete team now. Kyle Shanahan is a better coach now. Like, you can see it. The play calling is better. The schemes are better. It's the results are better. You know, we make jokes that when we were making jokes about the lead that the Chargers blew against the Jags. It wasn't even about Kyle Shanahan and making, 28-3 jokes, or, the jokes about them blowing the lead in the Super Bowl. It was the Chargers are going to Charger. Kyle Shanahan has gotten so much better that he's not the one that's getting harassed about the 28-3 game anymore. It's still just the Falcons.
Yeah.
Kyle Shanahan was what called plays.
Yeah, people forgot about Shanahan.
But
it was the offensive coordinator, but
he was the offensive coordinator. He was calling plays in that game. But
made them forget.
He's gotten so much better. That team is so much better that people have started to forget that. And I think that's the best thing that could happen for Shanahan was that development. But as a Chiefs fan, I would much rather face the Cowboys or the Eagles in the Super Bowl than the 49ers.
Yes, absolutely. Who's your other? There would be 4 options, right? It'd be the Giants, the Cowboys, the Eagles, and the Niners. Right?
I'd be good with the Giants because you can leverage Daniel Jones' experience. Yeah.
Anybody besides the Niners is what you guys want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm not sure that the Chiefs are going to make it out of the AFC. I'm not sure.
And this is why we get to the last game, Bills and Bengals. For me, I mean, both very complete teams for the most part. And I think that Kansas City is going to have a hard time regardless. And especially, and what's even more telling about this being that this game is going to come down to whoever has the ball last, whoever scores last wins this game, is because when you look at how both teams played last week, yes, they won their games, but Joe Burrow and Josh Allen did not look like the Joe Burrow and Josh Allen that we're accustomed to last week. They both had really rough games. And when you add in the fact that they have unfinished business from the Damar Hamlin game, which, by the way, glad to hear he's back in Buffalo and doing better. He's at the team facility almost every day. I'm so happy that he recovered from that. That was a scary situation. But there's still a lot left on. There was a lot left on the field in that game.
Yeah. It's a weird thing to think about now because we do know that he's okay. And now we can look at it in hindsight and go, holy shit, that was a fucking huge game. That was a huge game that was missed.
And when you add in the fact that the Bengals were winning that game, and then Josh Allen last week, 5 days ago, Josh Allen started rough.
Yeah. Turned the ball over, 4 times? 3 times?
3 times.
Yeah.
And so for me, but Joe Burrow lost his third offensive lineman in as many weeks. He was getting sacked a lot. So we're starting, with the Bengals side, we're starting to see some of those same old problems that they've been trying to rally against are back up at the front and center. So you're going to have 2 quarterbacks playing with something to prove. Burrow knowing that he has the Chiefs number. He's everybody calls him the Patrick Mahomes boogeyman. No, he's Steve Spagnuolo's boogeyman.
Yeah,
for sure, because he's not playing Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes isn't checking under his bed every night for Joe Burrow. Those guys probably text and play, send each other tips on Candy Crush. Like, let's be realistic here. They're playing Call of Duty together, at least, except on game weeks when they play each other. Those guys probably play some COD together. Like, come on. Most of those guys do that when they're not playing each other. So
they're on the same side of the ball. Like they're almost like guys who do like Moto X or something, like BMX, because they're just like best trick. And then they're not actually going in opposition to each other. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, they're just like doing their thing and doing it the best that they can do. And then that's kind of the rest of it decides, what the game ends up to be like, because they can only do what they can do because they're not actually playing each other. So I know what you're saying. Like, Burrow wouldn't be Mahomes' fucking boogeyman. He'd be the Chiefs' boogeyman. He'd be the Spagnuolo and the Chiefs' boogeyman.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. Because like when you look at these matchups, Me personally, Josh Allen is the Mike Vrabel of quarterbacks this year. By that, guess what? Josh Allen can't close. I'm saying it. He's thrown more, and it's the red zone TDs, because when the Chiefs played the Bills, what was that, week 2, week 3? When the Chiefs played the Bills and they lost to the Bills because Patrick Mahomes threw a red zone interception. All the Bills Mafia and all the sports analysts like, Josh Allen would never do that. Josh Allen threw more red zone interceptions this year than any other starting quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, not just more than Patrick Mahomes, more than anybody.
Anybody.
Yeah.
More than
he
anybody.
Is loose. He's loose with the ball. And
he had, I think he had a red zone INT last week. He had another one.
Yeah.
And this
Tony,
is
do you
why...
think that he's overrealized? Sorry, go ahead. Do you think that he's overrealized his talent a little bit? Like, he's almost like, he knows that he's so good at this point that he's almost like
Mahomes, what they were dealing with Mahomes.
Kind of. Yeah. Like those guys, they have a phase. They have a phase that they go through where they know that they're so talented that they overcompensate. They're like, oh yeah, I can do whatever I want.
If you're a Bills fan and you watch this, like, I'm not criticizing Josh Allen. I have an immense amount of respect for Josh Allen. I donated charity last year. We were all as a network vocally supportive of DeMar Hamlin,
regular watcher of the show.
Going on, very supportive. We like the Bills organization, but Josh Allen is struggling this year, and so if they can make it past the Bengals, because I think the Bengals are going to win this game. That's my prediction. I think the Bengals win it by 3 points. They have whether it's a late touchdown or final field goal, whatever, Bengals by 3.
Just for clarity, though, Josh Allen not struggling this year. Josh Allen struggled last week. He's loose with the football, but Josh Allen had a great year. Josh Allen had a great year. He did great quarterback. He's probably he is one of the top 3 quarterbacks. Probably. Yeah. Somebody will throw it in there. So yeah, it's like, this guy's a top 3 quarterback in the NFL. I don't think there's anybody who's going to argue with you about that.
No.
But like, he had a rough last week. He's loose with the ball. And when you're saying he can't close, like, he's Vrabel in the playoffs, that's what it has been. He's gotten to the AFC playoff or the AFC championship twice now, right? And both times it hasn't worked out. I mean,
but you look at the numbers for Josh Allen, okay? For the 2022 season, 4,283 yards, 35 seventh among starters, 35 touchdowns, tied for second. Those are stellar fucking numbers. 14 interceptions, tied for 30th. So that means that he played.
I don't think he played every one.
I think he played 14 games, 15 games. I'm pretty sure 14 or 15. Actually, no, maybe he did play every game this year.
It says all the way up to week 18, and he didn't. No, he missed another. No, he didn't miss. So he played 15 games, but he also, that last game, he was okay. So he started every game. So yeah, 15 games. He just missed one. Sorry, he did miss 2. He did miss 2.
Yeah, he missed 2. Okay.
No.
So, but he only had 14 interceptions. That's tied for 30th in the league. Okay, that's great. But when you look at the fact that of those 14 interceptions, half of them were costly red zone interceptions.
Yeah.
That's your problem. And in the playoffs, weaknesses get shown. Weaknesses get made an example of. And so for me, something, with the Bengals, the weaknesses that they have is a weak offensive line. Okay. Like I said earlier, they lost their 3rd offensive lineman in as many weeks. The year that Kansas City lost to the Bengals or to the Bucks, they had the same problem. Last year, when the Bengals lost in the Super Bowl, they had been dealing with offensive linemen or with offensive line injuries. So this is unfortunately a recurring problem for the Bengals that they've had. But I think the Bengals survive the Bills. And I think we see a true in Arrowhead gritty AFC championship. And this time, I think that
Your
we
boy.
see I think that we see Mahomes get over the hurdle. And
My adoptive son.
Your adopted son. We see
son.
Patrick get over the hurdles. And we see Kansas City come out of this and we see them in the Super Bowl. There's too many things for Kansas City's benefit right now. Just like I think on the NFC side, there's too many things pointing towards San Francisco. Now, when you look at the other thing, talking about the NFC, going back real quick to the San Francisco-Dallas game, Dak Prescott missed 5 games this year, but still tied for the lead in interceptions with Derek Carr for most interceptions thrown this year. Yeah. Derek Carr missed 2 games. Dak missed 5. If Dak had played 3 of those 5 games, he leads the league in interceptions.
For a quarterback that is the highest paid by year quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah. And so, but when you look at Joe Burrow doesn't throw a lot of costly INTs as far as interceptions go. I'd say a lot. He throws, obviously every quarterback throws interceptions, but just second quarter, maybe, it was a 3rd down where they were going deep. They were getting ready to punt it anyway. Those interceptions aren't nearly as costly as 7 red zone picks. And what's even worse is most of that was in the back half of the season, and you want to streak into the playoffs. And so that's why I still like the Bengals for this game. I know why the Bills are favored. I don't blame the odds makers for favoring the Bills in this game. But I would take, this is one of those where it's not going to be a bad idea to bet the underdog, because when you look at things realistically, the Undo has a chance to at least cover, if not completely take it. You know what I mean?
Right. Joe Burrow throws timely interceptions almost. He throws, not instead of untimely interceptions, Joe Burrow throws timely interceptions.
Yeah. Gets it out when
it's like they're matter. Just, yeah, it's like, whatever. Like it's almost like they always get tipped and shit too. Joe Burrow has my favorite quarterback descriptive word, and that is moxie. Joe Burrow has a lot of moxie. It's confidence and kind of gunslinger mentality with like a certain coolness of head is moxie to me. Does that make sense?
So Joe Burrow is tied with Josh Allen for touchdowns, more yards at 4,475, 2 less interceptions.
To Josh Allen?
Than Josh Allen. But Joe Burrow did not throw anywhere near as many red zone interceptions this year. I think it was only I think it may have been 3 at tops. There wasn't.
Yeah.
I can't remember this year one time hearing of a major costly red zone interception from Joe Burrow, but we had multiple. There was one game where he had 2 red zone interceptions. There was a couple of games. There was more than one game where he had more than 1 red zone interception in the same game.
Well, you know what a lot of that comes from too, right? I mean, it's almost like the Lamar Jackson thing we were talking about, where he knows that if he gets out of the pocket and he can kind of determine whether he wants to run or throw the ball, he is looking to throw most of the time. But if he gets to the point where he can run or throw, he always tries to get to that point. And a lot of times he's trying to do too much. He has that kind of Patrick Mahomes syndrome a little bit. And this is not a good time for him to have Patrick Mahomes syndrome.
And what's even worse for Josh Allen's case is, he's getting all of this support as one of the top elite quarterbacks in the NFL. He hasn't made a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Whereas
Mahomes, hasn't been one yet.
Mahomes has made 2, won 1, lost 1, gotten his MVP. Joe Burrow made 1 and lost it. But, everybody has him pegged that at some point he's going to get the MVP. And you look at Josh Allen, you're like, yeah, you can see him getting an MVP. But the more that the Bills continue to struggle and not actually make it over that hurdle, the harder it is, because Josh Allen just keeps messing up.
Right, but you're getting a lot of what you're getting about the top tier quarterback talk with Josh Allen is people clearly see, and you can clearly see if you know anything about football, that guy is an immensely talented, generationally talented quarterback. So that's what he's getting a lot of that. They're kind of putting him into an automatic top tier just because he is so freakishly talented. The cannon arm, obviously, the guy's probably got this. You know who he reminds me of, Tony? Like he reminds me of early, like mid to late 80s John Elway.
I was thinking about that. I was talking with somebody when I went to karaoke last week, and they made a comp with Elway for him. I don't hate it. I mean,
he's a little bit bigger than Elway was. Elway was about 6'3", 230 or so. Big dude, baseball player, right? Josh Allen's 6'6", 260. So he's a bigger version of John Elway, but like the intangibles, so he can run, he's strong, right? Like that is exactly the same thing that John Elway was in the 80s.
My question on it, though, with his size, would he be better off and possibly a little faster if he dropped like 25, 30 pounds? Would that be beneficial to him?
No, I don't think so, because he doesn't use his speed as much as he uses that size when he runs. You can tell he's not the fastest guy in the world, but he's definitely agile for being that big. It's almost a Cam Newton type of thing. Like he's very Cam Newton-ish.
Well, and the other thing for me is Josh Allen leans into the hits more than he slides. And I think that's going to come back to bite him in the ass at some point, because that's how you get injured as a quarterback.
Bro, not when you're 260 though, for real. Like not when you're 260, it doesn't matter. Like he needs that extra. And that's why I'm saying, like when you asked if he lost a little bit of weight, I don't think that'd be good for him, because I think that he uses that weight a lot to avoid injury, because a lot of times that's what's going to, like, if you like, he kind of cowers against hits, or like in Madden, they used to call it brace against hitters when they would have like the tux ball, they'd be like brace against hitters. That's what he does. He kind of braces and kind of sits down against it, which actually is a very defensive way to get tackled. Yeah. And it's very healthy for you to not just, he's not going out there just fucking trying to bull rush Peyton Hillis style, you know, like just trying to roll dudes, like just trying to roll dudes over and shit. Like he's not trying to do that. Like fucking no. But he braces and he kind of takes it and he just goes down. And I think that's the way to do it. Unless you can slide, obviously, but then you're losing. Probably there's a 3-yard difference there between hitting and going down and getting a yard and a half just falling down, as compared to they're gonna spot the ball from where you start your slide at, and you're way behind the ball. Like there's a big difference in yardage there. And I think that he does it the right way, and that he doesn't try and take the hits from these dudes. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, and they're not, nobody's going to he knows that the referees are not going to let anybody touch him in a way that they should not. You know what I'm saying? Like there's not going to be any fucking monkey business going on when somebody tackles him. They're going to wrap him up. They're going to take him down normally, because nobody's going to let anybody touch a quarterback, especially the stature of Josh Allen.
But here's the thing. Once he gets out of that pocket and he's running, those rules don't apply.
Right, but he's even susceptible to like helmet to helmet, everything. They're going to be looking at every little part of the way that you tackle him. If you leave with your helmet,
it's going to get scrutinized. Yeah, it's going to get scrutinized. It's still going to get scrutinized more than, say, somebody hitting Justin Jefferson, because Jefferson is a receiver and he takes those hits more often than Josh
Henry.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's going to be looked at.
I see what you're saying. That makes sense.
So he knows that. Josh Allen's smart. He knows that.
Yeah.
And he knows that he can kind of just roll into something. You know what I'm saying? Like he weighs enough. He can kind of just barrel into somebody. So.
All right. So let's we're on almost 2.5 hours. Let's wrap it up. So final thing, prediction on Bills Bengals. What do you think?
Oh man, I'm going to go with the Bills. I'm going to go with the Bills. It's in Buffalo, right? Yeah. In Buffalo. I think that's the only thing that makes a difference. I think that they're going to use a home field. I think it's so close that I think that the home field advantage might be enough with Bills Mafia and stuff like that. And I think we're going to see Kansas City Buffalo rematch instead of Kansas City Cincinnati. But honestly, it's
I'd rather see, but I would rather see, as a Chiefs fan, again, just like because of the challenge that it presents with not wanting to see the 49ers in the Super Bowl, I would much rather see the Bills than the Bengals in the AFC Championship.
Right.
But
and familiarity for one, you know, like you guys just played them enough. Like Reed knows a lot about, obviously Spagnuolo knows a lot about fucking Josh Allen. And Spagnuolo is the fucking giant killer when it comes to fucking quarterbacks. He, like, obviously the fucking Patriots hate Steve Spagnuolo.
Right.
That's the only guy who's ever kind of.
But here's, but like I said, though, it's it's going to come down to, I think it's going to come down to who has the ball last. And if Josh Allen throws more than one red zone interception in this game, the Bills aren't winning it. I think his picks are going to end up being a catalyst for them and their success for this season because of how badly timed they are. It's not the number of them. Again, it's not the number of them because he's like, because I was looking at it, he's like third or fourth in interceptions in the NFL. But but also quarterbacks are getting so much better that we're not seeing Jameis Winston's type seasons anymore where you're going 30-30. It's Derek Carr led with, what was it, 16-17 somewhere.
Nobody's throwing 30 picks. Nobody's really throwing 30 picks besides Jameis Winston.
Right? But like the pick numbers aren't up there as much as they used to be because the quarterback talent, the arm talent of quarterbacks is so much better now than it was 20 fucking years ago.
And the rules are a huge advantage. You can't touch receivers after a certain point. Like the rules are a lot of it too. Like, but yeah, the talent is obviously the specified passing talent has been very honed in over the last 20 years. You know what I'm saying? Like these guys are pocket passers who throw the ball accurately and precisely. Right. They don't do playoff hand. This is no play action anymore. It's not play action like boot plays. This is drop back, throw the ball accurately, throw the ball with arm strength and and accuracy, and that's how they do
with
it.
Confidence, with precision. You're trying to hit somebody that's 40 yards down the field with the back shoulder throw. Like you're being that specific with your accuracy
and throwing it before they get out of breaks and shit too, because you have to, because the windows have closed that much that the athletes are getting so good at this point that the windows are so small to throw the ball into.
Timing is so crucial with the offensive side of the ball anymore because with how aggressive and how physical defenses still are able to be, like it's literally their job to play spoilers. So they're going to do everything they can to spoil everything that they can.
And bend don't break and spoil shit. Get some turnovers. Yep. Bend don't break and get turnovers. That's it.
And I like the Bengals defense a little bit more than I like the Bills defense, and that's ultimately the pick. That's why I pick that, and Josh Allen's horrible timing with interceptions is why I take the Bills or why I take the Bengals. But I will be hoping the Bills win the game.
I think the Bengals is the betting choice. I would think, like, even though they probably have the favorite is probably the Bills, right?
The Bills are favored. Yeah, it's like 3.5.
Okay. Yeah, so I would say, but I think the Bengals are probably the actual better bet there. But that game's such a fucking good. That's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Such a crapshoot. So
it really is, and like okay, so let me look at it. Where's the line? I'm trying to see. Okay, so actually, I'm sorry, it's 5.5.
Wow.
And the over-under is 49. And that's the thing, like for me, 5.5, I would take the Bengals to cover.
Depending on how the weather's going to be, I would go up that over too.
Yeah.
If it's just going to be cold and not snow on the ground, then I think you have easily over 49.
Yeah, that's a 60-point game at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. All right, so any final thoughts tonight, my friend?
Yes. There are two members of the 38,000 point club in the NBA. Number one is the current, not for long, all-time leading scorer, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And the second one just entered the 38,000 point realm, Mr. LeBron James.
He got that
on every show. No, he got it. He got it like 3 days ago. He went over 38,000.
Because he's less than 300 points away now, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's like 200 some. He'll do it he'll do it either right before the All-Star break or right after the All-Star break somewhere. If he does it before the All-Star break, it'll be a big fucking LeBron. Let's all jerk LeBron off celebration at the All-Star game, which I might just go to the game. No, but like
you'll offer to be a towel boy for the jerk off session, like you won't even care.
Yes, that'll be like, but no. But yeah, that's what it'll be. You know it will be. It'll be like, oh my gosh, all-time leading scorer. But it'll be a bunch of shit. And like It's almost like it kills my fucking case for the whole thing too, because I'm actually looking at his game and trying to be like, hey, I think he's better than Jordan. And then we have to sit here and fucking every single news station has to fucking cover about when he fucking takes a piss. in Cleveland. It's like, I went out to a bar. It's like, what the fuck? Who cares? Like, what are you guys talking about? You're making it worse.
I think we're gonna talk about the negative impacts of social media on professional sports in a future episode, because I think that especially now, athletes are so much more scrutinized with their personal lives than they've ever been, and I think it's absolutely fucking moronic. Because LeBron's a basketball player. He's an entertainer. He should be allowed to go to a bar without it being on fucking TMZ. Because here's the thing. If you are so focused on who LeBron James is that you care about him going to a bar, go get help. It's not that important.
Do you guys not know that he does other shit than play basketball? He has a life outside of playing basketball.
That's why one of the core pieces for this show is athletes are people too. Because here's the thing. If I post on Facebook, hey, I'm going to karaoke, nobody gives a fuck. Except for the guy that's hosting karaoke and the bartenders that are going to be making money because
they barely
tip like you're supposed to. And
they barely
they give a fuck just enough to let me give them my money.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I give a fuck kind of, right? But I don't really care that you're going to the bar. Like, hey, Tony's going to a karaoke bar. Like, cool. Outside of that, I'm not gonna be like, well, I don't know how I feel about Tony going to a karaoke bar. Like that's what it feels like to me. Is I don't know how I feel about this. Why does it matter what you fucking feel about it? Yeah, who cares, dude? Who fucking cares?
I don't need to hear Skip and Shannon arguing about whether or not LeBron should have been at a bar, because I don't care. Let's talk about what's on the court and matters, especially when we're talking about somebody that is elite as LeBron, because that's what matters.
Right. And I feel like there's a lot of people who hate him more because he gets that constant fucking ESPN coverage, and they just are up his ass constantly, and they hate it because they're like, I don't want to hear more about LeBron. It's like, it's not LeBron's fault that you hear about LeBron. It's not like he's going out and going, hey guys, you need to cover me. You need to make sure that I get all my interviews on. I'm not doing that shit. I like to call, and here's the thing, you're going to laugh at this, and because of your music knowledge, when I say it, you're instantly going to know what I'm talking about. I call it the Nickelback effect, okay? Let's look at Nickelback the band, okay? There's all these jokes, all this hate towards Nickelback, okay? You go back, I implore anybody that enjoys music to go listen to, we'll say, Silver Side Up. Go listen to Silver Side Up and tell me that's a shit record. Go listen to it, and I can guarantee that you're also going to be fucking mouthing the words or singing out loud to at least a couple of songs on that album.
Exactly. Because, but the problem is Nickelback or the Dane Cook effect, if you will, because Dane Cook is a great comedian. By the way, he has an album on Spotify. I forgot to tell you about that. He recorded an album at his house with had a crowd and did a set. It's really good. It's really, I enjoyed it. But when you look at Nickelback, because of how overplayed they got, and that's exactly what it is they were just fucking overplayed. With how overplayed they got, all of this hate build up. Because in truth, I've seen Nickelback live one time. Out of the 1,500 plus shows that I've seen and worked, it is top 10.
Yeah, they put on
because they put on a hell of a show. It's a hell of a show. And even when I went, I was not I'm not a top Nickelback fan, but I can guarantee you that there are songs on some of their albums that everybody can at least appreciate and say doesn't suck. LeBron is so over publicized. And again, this is that whole thing I said about the impact of social media on major stars now versus what Jordan had to deal with in the 90s. Because here's the thing. Imagine if we had social media in the 90s like we do now, and word gets out about that game where Jordan drank all day and played golf and lost a bunch of money and won a bunch of money and then went and dropped 50. You know the story that I'm talking about.
Yes, there's going to be.
Imagine if social media existed today. Whatever the equivalent of Skip and Shannon is at that point in time is going to spend hours upon hours talking about how Jordan isn't dedicated enough. And yeah, it's great that he dropped 50, but obviously he's not the greatest of all time because he's wasting his time getting drunk and playing golf, and he's not showing up at the court at the court making extra practice.
Yep.
That's exactly what it would be.
Almost everything that was covered on Jordan was covered for what it should have been covered for, and that is his on-the-court performance. There was nothing outside of his on-the-court performance. That was the only thing that was publicized. There was no – because there would have been a lot of hookers –
baseball.
On the court, yes. Or either way. Like he was –
Right.
On the court was what was publicized because that's all that people cared about because he was a basketball player, right? He was an entertainer. Now LeBron has all of the stuff outside of that, and like he doesn't not stoke the fire. Let's not.
I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He knows exactly
Especially
what he's doing.
The Kyle Rittenhouse situation. He knew exactly what he did, and he had to eat his fucking words.
But he also lives in a generation where that's kind of what he has to do. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what he does. He's an entertainer. Like he's building his brand. That's a thing. He's going through it completely like we all are, kind of blind. You know, he doesn't know the next.
He doesn't have inside information that we don't. Right?
No, and obviously he said some stupid shit, but like, like haven't we all? Like this, you know what I'm saying? Like we've all said stupid shit.
How many? Half of us would get canceled off of our MySpace or our Zanga posts that we used to make. Like, let's all be real here.
Right, and what he doesn't get credit for is like he is always trying to be on the forefront of any kind of issue that he feels strongly about, and that fact alone for a guy who is that famous and has that much pull and clout is very courageous. In that sense, it is courageous.
You know, there's a line that you hear when you get the chance to really sit down and watch Letterkenny. There's a line that you'll hear a few different times. Don't be a fence sitter. You know, so many athletes and public personalities, you know, before the social media age, they didn't have to make a comment. You know, but now in the social media age, it's expected.
Yep.
By those fans. Like me personally, I still don't give a fuck. But there is a large section of those individuals' fans where if you don't make a comment, you're against their opinion. And so you have to make a statement.
What was Jordan's one very famous political quote? It was, how do you feel about the Republicans passing this bill or whatever? And he said, Republicans buy shoes too. That was his one.
Exactly.
And he gets scrutinized for it, but that was his one all-time political quote.
You know, he's got bills to pay. He needs to have money to gamble with. You know, eventually he doesn't want him to keep killing his parents for all the gambling debts he has.
He's only got one more parent left. He's only got one left.
Okay, yes, we know that wasn't exactly what happened. We're making a fucking joke show.
It's always a joke. I can't overstress that enough. How much that is always a joke. Like the only reason I still make that joke. The reason I still make that joke is because people get so pissed off by it. I'm like, dude, it's a fucking joke, bro. Like I don't know he did it, but like I also don't know that he did. Like I act like
I don't think that's what it was. But anyway,
it probably wasn't.
You know,
still funny.
So the criticism. The criticism of LeBron, it's because, like I said, it's the Nickelback effect. It's, you know, the Rick Astley effect, if you will. It's so, because one of the reasons why Never Gonna Give You Up became, you know, why Rick Rolling became a thing is because it got so overplayed that DJ started to make a joke out of it and do just that.
Right.
You know, because it was so overplayed and they were being forced to.
Just play repeat.
Well, whereas now, if you're a sports, you know, if like ESPN, Fox Sports, CBS Sports, all of these different sports networks, when it comes to basketball content, you at least need to find some way to flirt over something of LeBron at some point during the show. You have to, like, it's expected. It's a requirement because of the attention that it brings to just say his name.
Yeah. Stacks and I are literally almost doing that collectively, as we started it like collectively on screen we weren't trying to be joking, but we were both clearly joking about it, like about how much we're LeBron fans and we think he's the GOAT or whatever. But like we were only talking about it because that's what everybody talked. Like it's almost like it has to be talked about in front of, especially if you have an NBA show, we have to cover LeBron for at least 45 minutes. And that's like, we're almost making it like a running joke now about like, we're making a show with Will next week. It's a joke to us now.
Right.
Like we're just doing it because we know that I guarantee next week, we didn't have fucking hardly any live viewers yesterday. I guarantee next week, if we rep it well enough, you know, quite a few viewers are going to watch the LeBron fucking, because that's just, we're making a joke about it. Cause like, that's what it is at this point. Like you have to cover LeBron, and it is a thing. And like I said, LeBron's not like fucking backing off on it. It's like Braun's like, no, please don't cover me. But like at the same time, it's not his he's not his network. He ain't fucking running the cameras and shit. He's just like hanging out. There's just following him around. It's not really.
He's riding the tidal wave.
I would be too.
I mean, exactly. Why wouldn't you? The amount of money it's making him, why wouldn't you? In that situation, Tony, I would do the same goddamn thing.
I would be quitting right now. I'd be quitting the Los Angeles Lakers. I'd be like, we know this. We've established that I would not be. I'd be like, nope.
See you guys. Get to smell fuck you money. If you get to smell fuck you money, you're gone.
If I have $1 billion already, why am I doing anything besides what I want to do all day long? Why am I doing anything that anybody else wants me to do ever? Like ever. Like if I'm not doing things that this general household is interested in, there's nothing outside of that. Like if I got $1 billion, fuck do I care? Like literally everybody that tries to even talk to me and say anything about negative, I'd be like, fuck you. I don't care. I don't care. Here's a $100 bill. Go away, please. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm sorry. Do you have $1 billion? No. Okay.
Sir, you can't park in the courthouse lawn. Here's $1,000. Just please go away. Just put it in their pocket. Like, sir, that's not how it works. It's not how it works.
That's what it is. Anything, but that's the thing. Anything where it's punishable by a fine means it's legal if you pay this price.
Everything besides like serious crimes that we usually don't commit. Everything's on the table at that point.
All of the boring white person stuff, it's just legal for a price.
Absolutely. And then like if you're rich enough, you can kill your wife. You can do a lot of different things, and apparently you can just get away with it.
Like look at Alec Baldwin. It was announced today that he's getting charged with involuntary homicide for that shooting on the Rust movie set last year.
Involuntary manslaughter, which is punishable.
One of there was 3 people total that were looking at being charged. It was Baldwin, the armorer, and the assistant director. The assistant director's job is to make sure that in a set where there's firearms on set, the AD's job is to check the firearm and make sure that it's safe, hand it to the actor, and say it's safe.
And then right after that scene's done, take it back from the actor to make sure it does not get just discharged. Yeah,
exactly. Okay. The AD, because it was announced today that the armorer and Baldwin were going to get charged. The AD has already signed a commitment to plead to a lesser charge. The person who actually, because Baldwin's argument was that because Baldwin's argument to this whole thing, he was told the gun was safe. It was an accident, which is pretty realistic when you consider all of the fucking safety stuff that they didn't follow that they were supposed to. There shouldn't have even been live ammunition on set. I've worked in production long enough. It shouldn't be anywhere near that set.
Why was it?
Well, because what was being allowed to happen is there were crew members that were being allowed to take the guns and go shooting with them when they weren't working.
Oh, good God.
For those of you that understand, that is normally never allowed to happen on a movie shoot. There is not live ammunition allowed anywhere near a movie shoot. It is all blanks. Doesn't matter what you see on the screen as a final product. Everything that's done on a movie set is all blanks. But they still have multiple safety meetings a day. And the first one of the day, is and the first thing, and when you go to the first meeting, you learn that if there is a firearm that's being used on set today, that day it's going to be live because they're going to be using blanks. They severely reduce the amount of people that are in a certain vicinity of where they're shooting the scene and shooting the weapon, because they want to reduce the amount of they want to reduce the safety risk associated.
Right.
And the
so
AD
like shooting at a range.
Right, exactly. And anybody that's handled a gun and understands gun safety, the first thing you always shoot a gun is loaded. Well, absolutely. For actors, because a lot of times they're coddled, they get handed a weapon and told that it's safe. Okay. Me personally, I could be getting handed a gun from a police officer and I'm still going to look. But that's the way I was taught. You and I live in that small town. We know I don't give a fuck what that person that hands me that gun says. I'm still looking down the goddamn barrel to make sure that it's safe.
Right. you're gonna pop the magazine out, and I would just figure out what these blanks looked like and everything, like, and just make sure that that's what's in the magazine all the way. You know what I'm saying? Like you can see pretty far down there. Or like if you have a handgun or whatever, if there's blanks in the magazine or whatever.
If you Google like the difference between a blank 9mm shell versus one that's got a projectile in it, you can see that there is a very clear difference.
Right.
But Baldwin, who advocates for gun banning, but has no clear understanding of what gun safety should be. I feel bad for what happened to the director of cinematography that passed away, Helena Hutchins. I think Hutchins was her last name. Helena, I know Helena was her first name. Because the situation shouldn't have happened. But there was so much blatant disregard for safety on that movie set that the negligence charges had to happen. And it pisses me off. I've talked to a couple of people that actually work in movie production, because I know my experience is in music. I've talked to a few people in movie production that all of those made the same statement. Like, he shouldn't have been able to plead down because he's the one that told Baldwin the gun was safe. So he did not do his job, even if the armorer fucks up. Because here's the thing. This was her first movie where she was the lead armorer on. Her experience in this position. Yeah, he did get a deal. He did get a deal.
Like to probably testify against fucking Baldwin and the other guy, at least Baldwin, because that's a high profile.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the thing is I think he got a deal, and it pisses me off because they should all be negligent homicide, involuntary manslaughter, reasonable charges for the situation.
Shows you how much he is actually in control of that situation, where they came to him first to make a deal because he knows the most about what happened because he was in charge of it. And that's why he got the deal, because he was actually at fault and he knows the most, and he's a no-name nobody. Nobody fucking even knows his name. So who the fuck cares? Let's go get Alec Baldwin. So here you go. You can have a lesser charge. Let's go get Alec Baldwin. That's what it is. That's what's going on right now.
And the armor, the armor and Alec Baldwin. Now the armor, I mixed on this because of the lack of experience, but she also grew up on it. Her dad's one of the most well-known armorers in Hollywood. She should have known. It is reasonable to expect she should have known that she fucked up. The AD, though, for me, because here's the thing. I wouldn't trust Alec Baldwin to hold my coffee, because anytime he starts speaking on anything outside of what's scripted, you can tell that he is a fucking moron.
Oh, Alec Baldwin. Alec Baldwin. He's in a Film Actors Guild.
I love that movie. God, such a great Team America World Police, by the way. If you haven't seen it, it's a great movie.
Gary,
Trey Parker.
My time is very valuable, Gary. I'm not from the movie company. I'm not going to fuck your mouth.
Now suck my cock.
Now, oh, what a nice limo. Yes, it is. Now suck my cock. Yes, it is. I'm kidding, Gary. My time is very valuable, Gary.
But money got him. Money got that AD out, and we're gonna see Baldwin and the armorer take a bigger fall than the guy who was actually the one who told Baldwin that it was safe to fuck with.
Yeah,
and that's what sucks. But for those of you that have been watching, or if you have been watching us for most of it, looks like, we appreciate your support so much. Don't forget to like and share our content. For those of you that are catching us after on westcoastradio.info, definitely go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/The Sports Report Podcast, and like and share our stuff. We would love to hear from you. You can also go to our YouTube channel if you're not watching it from there already, youtube.com/@The Sports Report Podcast. We would love to hear your thoughts. Reach out. We will see you Monday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, for the Sports Report Podcast. And we will be back here next Thursday, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on The Sports Report. Thank you for your support, everybody. Have a good night.
Tony, I feel like you made some really rock solid points tonight. Did a great job. Great job, everyone. Great job, production staff. Great job, Armor, AD. We're gun safe.